Yo, this is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe, you can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. We got a whole lot to get into, man. March Madness has been madness. The ladies have stepped up, did their thing. It's just some things going on in the NBA. I even got to make a little hockey shout out today. We ain't said nothing about hockey in a long time, but I got to shout out one of the greats in hockey today as well. Oh, and we got a special guest just gonna be joining us a little bit later in the program. But before we get into all that, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on, man?
It's really good, bro. You know, we had to take last week off. I had to get some things situated, but we back. We ready to go, man. And we got a lot to talk about.
Yep. And Pooh, we see you in the comments. We got you. We definitely gonna talk about Juju today. But we're gonna start here at the top. Yo, shout out to Tyson, man. Yo, Tyson be going hard for us, man. He be hard in the paint, man. I love that, man. 4:30 early with it. So we're gonna just get right into it, man. Is Shedeur in danger of falling in the draft? No, I'm gonna tell you right now. No, he's not in danger of falling in the draft. It's not happening. Obviously, I mean, from what I've been seeing, mostly with all of the mock drafts that I've seen, people have Cam Ward going number one. But don't let the Giants' recent quarterback signings fool you. They still need their quarterback of the future, and I'm in strong belief that is going to be Shedeur. Eric and I spoke a couple of weeks ago about that Browns pick and where we thought they would go with it. And I think we kind of came to the conclusion that they most likely would take Abdul Carter out of Penn State. And then which would leave Shedeur right there at the third spot for the Giants, in which they don't have to move, do anything. So they got a good veteran Super Bowl champion quarterback in Russell Wilson, who can kind of lead the way. You got a very good locker room guy on top of that, and Jameis Winston as your veteran backup. And then you could just let Shedeur come in and be free. He can learn the game. He can study from a couple of seasoned veterans, one of which, like I said, is a Super Bowl champion in Russell Wilson. He can kind of take his time and get into things. He doesn't have to rush. He can really learn the NFL game from especially with Russell Wilson, who I said is a Super Bowl champion. He'll be able to learn a lot his first year. And then after that, we go from there. But I believe Shedeur will be the Giants quarterback of the future.
Definitely. Shout out to Tyson, man. I wouldn't say he's in danger of falling because by most draft accounts, he's the fourth or fifth best player in the draft. So if he goes top five, I think that's pretty accurate. Now, we expect quarterbacks to go number one or two. And in this case, I think he's still in line. But if he falls to number three to the Giants, I don't consider that falling because you got two great defensive players in this draft with Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. And also because of the Brown situation at quarterback, as we highlighted, they're probably passing on a quarterback anyway. So I think him at 3 or 4 is probably the right range for him anyway. I wouldn't consider that a drop.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think so. So yeah, there you go, Tyson. Hold on, let me see this one. We on NFL, so I'm gonna keep. Tyson got a couple of NFL questions he needs us to get to. Rodgers works out with DK Metcalf at UCLA. Is that a sign, I guess, that he will be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Quite possibly. If they develop that rapport, I could definitely see that. But again, I have to see Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers. And when I say be Aaron Rodgers, I mean 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion Aaron Rodgers, because we haven't seen that since he left Green Bay. Obviously, everybody knows he got injured on that first drive, the first year with the Jets, gone for the season. Last year, I mean, rocky at best. I mean, I'm just trying to be positive about it, but we haven't actually seen that level with Aaron Rodgers. And DK Metcalf is great. Pickens, he's up and coming, but I got to see Aaron Rodgers, and I know this is crazy to even say this is about Aaron Rodgers, but listen, we got to call a spade a spade. You know, he got to show and prove and show us that he still has that elite level talent that we've seen for the past 20 years with him.
Yeah, I agree with you though. I wouldn't call that a reach or disrespectful to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked good in about 4 seasons. So, and at 41, 42 years old, we expect guys to not be themselves. So I wouldn't look at it as like disrespectful to think he's got to prove it. I do think though for Pittsburgh, he probably is the choice. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. I don't think he wants to start having losing seasons now. Um, Aaron Rodgers is the best option out there for them. And because of the weapons they already have on offense, we talked about DK, we know Pickens, we know Fryer move, we know the running game that they got there. And with that defense, which is still very, very good, I don't think they want to regress per se. I think they want to still try to be in the mix to win 9 or 10 games. It is one of the toughest divisions in all of football. And without a quarterback, there's no way you're competing with Baltimore, with Cincinnati, if you don't have at least a quarterback that can put up some points for you. So Aaron Rodgers probably is the guy, and that probably is the first sign of things to come, him working out with DK.
Yeah. So we gonna see again. Listen, that's football season is our time. So we gonna see if Aaron Rodgers still got anything left in the tank. But you know, 2 years is enough tape. You know, obviously the injury, but again, this is not a young quarterback getting injured and coming back. This is a quarterback who was already past his prime, who's one of the elder statesmen of the league, getting injured, missing the year, and then coming back and still not looking close to what we've come accustomed to seeing from Aaron Rodgers. So the only thing I can say is we're gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be all bad, even though I would love to say that because you know, especially if he signs with the Steelers, but we're gonna have to wait and see. All right, Browns a contender with Kirk Cousins. First of all, they're gonna be paying a lot of money to quarterbacks this season if they bring Kirk Cousins over because you still got Deshaun Watson's deal lingering, and he's barely even played, but you still got his contract, which is fully guaranteed. Don't know why they did that, but it's done. It's a done deal. Nothing we can do to go back on it now. It's fully guaranteed. But again, bringing Kirk Cousins on, I mean, regular season Kirk is good. So I mean, I don't think it could hurt them much except for in the wallet. But I just don't think they need more. They need more than Kirk Cousins. They need somebody who can not only win in the regular season, but can actually do some things in the playoffs. And the last time we saw Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, he was getting sent home in the wild card round by the New York Football Giants. So I just don't think he's the answer in Cleveland.
There's no way they're contenders with Kirk Cousins. The team still needs a lot of help. Granted, even if they were to draft Abdul Carter and pair him up with Myles Garrett, they'll have probably one of the best pass rushing duos in the game. But they lack the weapons on offense. Kirk Cousins hasn't looked good. He's another guy who really hasn't looked good in a year and a half, 2 years, because obviously he had that injury in Minnesota. And then last season was kind of his recovery year. But even with a healthy Kirk Cousins and the best form of Kirk Cousins, he's never been more than a guy who could maybe win one playoff game. He's never been more than that. Keep in mind, when Minnesota brought him in, Minnesota had just come off an NFC Championship game with Case Keenum as their quarterback. And that was the reason they brought in Kirk Cousins, thinking that he could elevate them to the next level. And they never even got back to an NFC Championship game with Kirk Cousins. So I don't think Cleveland becomes contenders just because they add Kirk Cousins. He'll be an upgrade at the quarterback position. But again, that ain't saying much for a team that is picking, number 2 in the draft in a couple weeks. So, does Kirk make them a 10-win team? Absolutely not. Again, this division is one of the best in football. You saw last year, the season that Joe Burrow had, the season that Jamar Chase had, and the Bengals weren't even a playoff team. That's how good the division is. Baltimore is the best team in that division. Pittsburgh is still very, very good. And if Pittsburgh gets a quarterback, they're probably still the second best team in that division. So with Kirk Cousins, the Browns just go from a trash 4th team to an average 4th team. That's all they're going to be. They're not better than the other 3 teams in that division with or without Kirk Cousins.
Exactly. we got our special guest in the building. I'm gonna bring H2 up. We still got a couple more football questions, but H2O can answer. He got a good football knowledge as well. Eric, I'm once I bring H2O on, I'm gonna let you take the next question because you got that Oh, wait, is that? Oh, I can't even see. Is that? I thought it was the Eagles. Am I mistaken?
Nah, I got the Tampa Bay joint on
Oh,
today.
okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna still take that question first. But let's bring H2O, the man, the myth, the legend, Haron H2O Hargrave, Mr. Balling for Peace, Mr. Philanthropy, Mr. I'm out here putting in work for the kids and the community. Welcome
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to Real Fans, Real Talk, man.
What's going on, man? What's going on? Y'all, it's a pleasure to always be here. You know what I'm saying? Always come through, tap in with my brother. This is just conversation. You know what I'm saying? At this point, this is just convo. Great convo. You know what I
And
Yeah,
if y'all know if we got H2O here, y'all know what time it is.
yeah, I know.
It's about to go down. So
As soon as the weather starts to warm up, you know what time it is.
exactly.
You know
Yes,
what
sir.
time it
Yes,
is.
sir.
So we're
Hey,
Yo,
gonna get
E,
into that
E, E.
to the minute.
We still had one of the best interviews I've ever
oh,
done, man.
well,
When
you
you
and I have been
came out,
talking. Yeah, you and I have been
yeah,
talking on running it back, and obviously, once I left the city, we haven't had the chance to. But I already
yeah.
told Trip I missed the last Super Bowl in Peace. I will be there this year, so hopefully, you and I
Okay.
can get a sit down earlier that week before we get to the actual
That
game.
that'd be great, man. I like that was I don't think I've done one like that since. You know what I mean? I've had some conversations, sit down talks and stuff, but you came out and traveled and had me in my element when I was coaching and stuff like
Right?
that.
Yeah,
That's how long ago it is. Yeah.
yeah, you guys had just had at a game earlier that day. We were right there in the
Yeah.
gym,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah,
and
that was
and
super
I
dope.
I commend you. I tell you all the time, man. But I have a lot of respect for you, and I commend you for the work that you do in the community.
Yeah.
And at this point, I do want to ask you, right? Because the motivation and the grind that it takes to do all this. You know what I'm saying? Like I know this is very personal to you, you know what I'm saying, to
Yeah.
give back to the community, do those things, but also speak to like the consistency that it takes to do what you do because we talk about the basketball game, but you put on a softball game, you put on a flag football game, and then throughout the
Yeah.
year we still see you in the community giving back, reaching back out to the youth, man. So speak to that consistency that people may not see the work that goes in behind the scenes to do all these things.
The consistency is everything, man. Like it's key, right? If you don't have consistency, you don't have anything. To be honest with you, like if you do something once, does that make it like a thing, right? You know what I mean? So like the difference between me was when I was in a market of only thinking about doing it once was the first one something came over me. It like, nah, I can't just do this and that's it. The impact that the first Bowling for Peace had at Baruch College and, was super. It was phenomenal. It was something that Trip probably would have slapped me if I only did it once after that because Trip was there. Like if I only did it one time, it would that would have been just a memory, but now it's a lifestyle. It's something that keeps me motivated, keeps me going. It's the same way that I felt when I was trying to, when I first started playing ball and trying to be the best at it, right? So now, I get things that drive me and not just from a point of athletics, but now this drives me in life to be better so I can do more for others, and this having this event is like it's a lifestyle now. It's in my life. It's embedded. Somebody asked me, "How long do you think you're gonna do this?" And it's like my life expectancy, like my entire life now. So, but you have your ups and your downs, and you know, um, sometimes you got to pivot,
Mhm.
and but consistently just staying the course, staying in your lane until it opens up, right? And the lane is still like this, right? It still ain't open. We still got so much more to do, and so many people to protect and serve, and so many more scholarships. Now we're giving out scholarships, doing the Elite 32, the high school
Mhm.
classic, where we're giving out scholarship, and that that adds to what more we can do more. We starting now even younger. We started the middle school madness, right? We had 32 middle schools playing March 9th. So, and then we had 32 high schoolers for the Elite 32 high school classic. So now we have a market. Two of the teams that played in our event won championships. Lehigh Regional, they won theirs, and Summit, Brooklyn, they won their the PSL championship as well too. So when you're putting eyes and ears on these student athletes who may not get that look, right? Um, but you're giving them that first yes
Yeah.
when so many people said no, right? It's bruh, it's almost how can we not do it? How can I stop now? Like, you know what I mean? How can I actually stop right now?
No, that's a fact. And you know what? It's crazy because Bowling for Peace is actually embedded in Real Fans Real Talk
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So because we done grown with Bowling for Peace, we've like made ourselves officially a part of Bowling for Peace. So that's a part of us as well. So that's why we always push to help you to grow whatever it is that you need help with, because it's such a huge part of what we do here with Real Fans Real Talk. And you give us the extra chance to put in work, for these kids out here. And
Hmm.
that's something that Eric and myself, we both have been working with children for a long time. So the fact that we get to combine that with somebody that we consider a brother, it just makes it, that much better.
Hmm.
um, we got, because I know y'all got to sit down. I got Eric booked for 2 interviews. We go, Eric, come on, you gonna pull up on me on me this week. I'm gonna show you the
Okay.
layout of where we gonna be at. But I got him
Yeah.
already scheduled for 2, so we're
Okay.
gonna have that sit down interview in this
Yeah.
surprise location that we're gonna reveal to y'all in like a month. We're gonna reveal it to y'all. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we might have to have that as the first interview. We might have to have Haron as the
Yo,
first person at this location
let's open it
to
up,
do that
man.
interview.
Let's make it happen. It's only right, man. It's only right because, as I said, Ron, you've not only included, like I said, you made this a part. You made Real Fans Real Talk a part of Bowling for Peace. And like Tripp said, we get people that access the moment you put out the flyer, they ask, y'all gonna be there? Like, I know
Yeah.
y'all gonna be there, right? Like they expect us to be there because you made us a
Yeah,
Yeah.
part of it now. So,
Hmm.
we're excited to do that. And we'll talk more off air about the location. And,
Yeah.
and we definitely
Yeah.
got to sit down and talk, though.
Yeah,
facts.
we've been growing together, like you said. You've helped innovate the game, right? And the event with that dunk contest, man. You came to me and was like, "Yo, we need a dunk contest," right?
We've
And
been kicking the NBA dunk contest ass for years
oh,
now.
we were whooping their ass. It's not even like nothing. So I just think again, from a media standpoint, we have to continue to do a good job at kind of like overall just having everybody people who know, right? You get those text messages, oh, you're gonna be there. I want more people who don't know about what we do
Right.
to know about what we do. And that's something that we can do offline as well too, game planning and kind of pushing that, the narrative that we want to more people. How do we get that message? We're in New York with 11 million people, right?
Yeah.
So we do the games in New York, right? So how does everybody know, especially just here in New York? How does everybody in New York find out about this? That's something that we can definitely do. And the news coverage helps, all of that stuff helps, but continue to make this a staple, right? And get in the mayor's office and make this event we've been having it as an annual event, but let's New York City make this an annual event that's on the
Mhm.
calendar, like MLK Day or something like that. So these are the goals and things that I aspire to make real, right? So because it's needed, man. We don't what's the official day of peace? Do we have one? No, right? There's Peace Week and people kind of came up with stuff and created their own stuff, but let's get Balling for Peace on the calendar as a New York staple, right? And maybe they have that as at the entire world, like what I'm saying, the day of peace,
Yeah.
that we kind of created. So that's where my mind
We,
goes, man. Like I think
we
about a
sure enough
lot of this
need it.
stuff.
We sure
Yeah,
enough
we
need it.
need that. We need that. And having, hey, everybody in their counties and their cities and their states, we reported zero crime today. Like, we reported no losses,
Mhm.
no fatalities from, you'll have your natural causes and things of that nature. But, as far as someone going out there and, can stop somebody from doing something,
Yeah.
that's the way that we want to do it. Sports stops people from doing any harm to people, right? You know what I'm saying? You may get your butt kicked on the court, but that's about it. But at the end of the day, team sports brings people together. That's the job. That's the message, and that's pretty much it. And that's what we push in Peace through sports.
Got you. Let me get rid of this last football question, and then there's a question here that's specifically for you, H2O. So let me
Hmm.
just get through this last football question, and we're gonna go to that question. Shout out to Miguel. I see your questions down there. Shout out to Imani as well. I see you in the comments. We definitely gonna talk Lakers since Ron's here.
We
First of
could talk
all,
next too, since I'm
yeah,
here as well. So
we gonna do that.
yeah.
Shout out to Tyson. First of all, I feel like I should say pause before I say this, but the tush push ban has some support from the NFL. Obviously, this is in regards to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles and their patented play, the tush push, which is, I mean, really, it's just a QB sneak. But there's several teams that have or are trying to get the play banned. Um,
Bro, they all have the chance to do it, right?
yeah,
You can do it. It's not somebody, they're not saying that you can't do it, but don't get mad when you have these trick plays and stuff that people do. Like remember the
yeah.
wildcat? Everybody was doing the wildcat thing, you faking here and throwing. So me personally, I don't know if you were asking, right? But I'm gonna answer, right?
Mhm.
And I think that it's nothing wrong with it. They do it anyway. They push the
Yeah.
line pushes the quarterback or the running backs, and they try to push them in anyway. So now that it's been successful, people want to talk about it, right? It's but like
Well,
anything else, yeah,
I
like
don't I don't have a problem with it personally, and everybody that watches the show knows I'm nowhere and in the vicinity of being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but I
yeah,
don't
me
have a
neither.
problem with it. My thing is stop it. Simple as that. It's not like it's an illegal play. They're not the only team that does it. Everybody does a QB sneak. I mean, they may be on the 40-yard line doing it to get through. But listen, I'm not mad. At the end of the day, you know, they they won the Super Bowl this year, but they didn't win the Super Bowl just based off of them doing a tush push. Okay, they earned everything they got this season. When they lost the Super Bowl, they was doing the tush push. Nobody had nothing to say. When they lose, nobody got nothing to say about it. But because they won the Super Bowl, now everybody want to start hating. Oh, we got to get this play out of here. No, man up. Just like the same thing with them new torpedo bats. Everybody can use them. So what we talking about here?
Yeah,
They
it's
just hate
it's
on hate on the Yankees. That's all.
it's nah, but it's a trash move that other teams are trying to present. The tush push has very little impact on the overall aspect of the game. If you do your job on first, second, and third down, they don't get the opportunity to do the tush push on fourth anyway, right?
Basically,
And other teams have tried to do the tush push, they just not as successful because they don't have the pieces and the weapons that the Eagles have. The Eagles have a big mobile quarterback. They got the running game, so they can do that and they can keep you off guard different ways. But to me, it's not wrong for unless they can relate the tush push to unnecessary injuries. Unless they can say, hey, because of the tush push, guys are getting unnecessary injuries because you're having these massive pileups in the middle of the field. Other than that, there's no reason to ban it.
I don't remember seeing any tush push play call and somebody got injured. So I
That's
don't.
what I'm saying. Yeah, unless you there's a correlation, direct correlation to hey, guys, it's leading to more injuries. There's no reason to ban it.
Stop it. That's my thing.
I
Stop
said the
them
same
from
thing.
doing.
Stop
Yeah,
if you stop them on first, second, and third down, they can't do the push on fourth.
yeah. That's like,
Basically.
yo, Steph Curry's the best shooter to ever shoot the basketball.
Mhm.
Imagine them saying Steph can't shoot no more threes, or like he can only shoot within this range of
He can
like,
only
yo,
shoot from
bro,
half court.
from half court. Like, bro, get out of here, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a play,
Basically,
creatively thought of, like, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it is what it is.
no, it's a fact. Shout out to Miguel. This. Oh wait, hold on. My fault. I'm going to the wrong question. But this one is for you. H2O. Who would you say the top 5 players that gave you problems in your career are?
Everybody always wants to hear this, right? I don't really I really, to be honest with you, I would say the player, I don't know if it's five of them for sure. I know that there was and I don't, it was one player who I would say was better than I thought. He was a little tougher than I thought. And I mentioned it here before, and it was Darren Collison. Darren Collison. Shout out to Darren Collison. Um when we played against UCLA, my junior year in college, that was his freshman year, I think, at UCLA, and I used to play him against him all the time because we I went to junior college in Rancho Cucamonga, California, in Chaffey, and he went to his high school was called Andawana High School. So it was out in the IE area where I went to school, and he used to come for the runs and everything. My sophomore year, his senior year. So and it's like this high school kid, but it's just a mindset thing too. I'm in college, he's in high school. My mindset was completely different. So I would just automatically kill him, like I'm killing him. But when he played at UCLA, it was just something a little bit different, right? You know what I'm saying? A little different. He was long arms. He was just as fast as me, kind of similar height, but long armed, and he loved to play defense, right? So those players who are like passing, you gotta like push them off and bump him. He's right there in your face. So Darren Collison was somebody that was tough. Um, Rodney Stuckey, when I played against him in the Big Sky conference, he also played in my conference. Shout out to Rodney Stuckey. He was like the big guard that they were pushing in the Big Sky at the time. And he wound up getting drafted by the Detroit Pistons. And he's known for not giving Allen Iverson number 3 when he got to Detroit. He didn't give it to him. He didn't give him a number, but Rodney Stuckey is about 6'4", powerful guard, and they kind of pushed him to be that main attraction in the Big Skies. Rodney Stuckey, um, and I had to guard him. I'm the point guard, right? But I was the guard. I was the point guard slash shooting guard. I was like a combo guard, and me and my backcourt mate, we were kind of similar in height. I had to battle against him to get the spot to start together. We had like one of the smallest backcourts, like 6 foot point guards, like being in the backcourt in Division One. But imagine the work that you had to put in to start on the Division One team. And I actually played the most minutes my senior and my junior year until my coach did some nonsense the last 8 games of the season and cost me newcomer of the year. I'll never forget that. But um, and now with the transfer portal, so I probably would have transferred and left and went to another school and got a lot of money to just play basketball in college, which is the new professional sport. College is now the new professional sport, and I don't care what nobody says. It influences the game, and I hope it just doesn't ruin the pureness of college basketball. But I do think these players should be getting paid. But to not get off topic, so I would say Ronnie Stuckey, um, Adrice, too hard to guard. That was one of my Adrice DeLeon. He played used to play against him in Dominican Power. He also played in my conference. He was in Eastern Washington. But in college, he wasn't, college can hurt players as well too. So he wasn't as, he didn't do all the flashiness. College, you gotta point A to point B, get the play done and things like that. So Adrice DeLeon. Um, yeah, that's it right now. I don't know about anybody else that I don't know about the two that I was like, okay, but I did think about when I had to go against Idris. I did think about when I had to go against Rodney Stuckey, meaning like, okay, he's a big guard, and Darren Collison, that matchup that we had at UCLA, one of my toughest matchups.
Trip, we can't hear you, Trip.
I said, all right, so Miguel, we're gonna run through these next couple of basketball comments. We're gonna save the college basketball for last because H2O, I know you're an expert in the college world too. So we're gonna save those for last. We're gonna get these NBA questions on the board. The new MVP top order was released with Shea at 1, Jokic at 2, Giannis at 3, Tatum at 4, Curry at 5. Do you like the order? Eric, you got to start this one off.
I'll say I'm assuming this order is released based on betting favorites on odds right now, because that's what I saw last as well. That Shay's over Joker. I agree. I probably would flip. Tatum and Curry. But other than that, I agree. These have been the best guys this year, most consistent guys all season. And to me, Shea is the MVP of the league.
Haron?
Yeah, I mean, you can always make the argument to give it to Jokic every year, right? many can say. This dude is he acts like he doesn't even like basketball. Like, and he's giving out triple doubles and average. You saw that one he had the 20 to 20 to 20. Like what 40 20 20? Like, come on. Like this dude can be MVP like every single year. Like you could have gave it to like Michael Jordan every year, but when they gave it to other people, it was more like is give somebody else a try, give somebody else a turn, and they're looking for they're looking for someone to be the face of the league as well too, and Jokic is just not interested, so that may hurt him from becoming an MVP again and again and again, even though he's won it multiple times already. And then Giannis, the Bucks aren't winning enough, right? So
Right.
Giannis can play and do what he got to do, and Tatum, Tatum's not the best player on this team, so
Mm.
I don't really.
Hey, hold on, Age. Don't.
They gonna they gonna
There's
think
been
you
people
hate.
that's criticized us and say we Tatum haters because
How, bro? Like I'm a ball player and I understand. Like the things that he does, it wouldn't convert to. He needs a Jalen Brown next to him so that he
Yeah.
can play the way that he's playing, but that
Mhm.
doesn't like those results. If he didn't have Jalen Brown,
Listen,
who's the real MVP of the team? There wouldn't be as
the
good.
guy that was the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals.
Didn't even make the Olympics.
Well, we know that was some political nonsense.
yeah, that was other.
but-
We know there was other powers.
And
yeah,
they
we
took
ain't tripping on that.
to take your six man, oh, Derek White over you, and not to get into it, but to take your six man. Imagine you're the MVP of the finals.
Well, hold on. I want to say this. Hold on. I want to say this though, Ace. Just to play devil's advocate, right? If the Team USA team had gone out there with who they expected to go with, right? Because originally, when you look at the forward position,
Kawhi,
yeah, Kawhi. I don't know if Jalen Brown would have got minutes either. I don't think, and that's not a knock on Jalen Brown. I just don't think he would have got minutes over those guys. Braun, KD, Kawhi were going to be your primary forwards that got the minutes on that team. Now, Jalen Brown would have got some time to play. It was not that he wouldn't have got a Tyrese Halliburton where he would have sat the bench the whole time. But he wouldn't. I don't think he would have had an opportunity to be as impactful because those guys were going to eat up the minutes.
Yeah, the game is much quicker too. You got to take off 8 minutes out of the game,
Right.
2
Yes,
minutes
10
per
minute
quarter,
quarters. Yeah.
10-minute quarters, 8 minutes, and it kind of just flows a little bit different. Sometimes you look up, damn, it's only 4 minutes left in the
Right.
first quarter. So I believe that, I get it, I understand it, but I would have loved to see the MVP of the championship current team on the player on that
Yeah.
roster, if
They
that
had
makes
Derek
sense.
White. They put
Yeah, especially if
Well,
you took the Derek. I get it, right? But Derek White, you take people and fits and everything like that, right? But nah, bro. But like it should have been an automatic thing. I won the MVP.
but the team was locked in before he won the MVP, though.
You're right. You're
I think-
absolutely right.
well,
But when
except
somebody
for
went
the
down,
replacements because
Right.
so when
But
somebody
then-
went down, you
Right.
could have put him in there.
Yeah.
You don't take my six man and put him over me as the MVP. Period.
I think
End.
we're not disagreeing with you on that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We're not disagreeing with you because we've had the conversation and we
Yeah.
feel he was more than deserving to be on the team.
Absolutely.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think the way they viewed it was like it was easier to get the minutes for what Derek White and what Drew Holiday do for the team. Yes, because remember we got the score
and
already.
they took
Yeah.
Drew Holiday.
But remember, but hold on. Drew has been with the team since the previous Olympics, so he's been working out with them. He's a mainstay kind of on the team already.
No, but I get it. But imagine them now taking your top, your Drew Holiday, Tatum.
Now 3 years from now, if Jalen Brown ain't on that team, that's a completely different conversation. They got more than enough time to bring him into the fold and say, hey, look, we want you to be one of the faces of Team USA for 2028.
Yeah.
If they don't,
He
that's
still got
politics.
issues with Nike, so he might have to worry.
Right. But we know, but again, but if they want to, we know that Tatum and Brown, for however you view them and whoever you think is better, they are two of the young stars of the game. And
Absolutely.
if you're Team USA and you're truly trying to build something for 2028, both those guys should be a part of that. Both those guys should be, because we know those are two all-stars. Those are two of the top 12 top 15 guys in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if we're just talking American-born players, they definitely two of the top 10 guys. So they should both be on that team.
And guess
For
what? Braun ain't gonna be there.
Oh, Braun, Curry, KD not gonna be there.
I was about to say there's a good chance KD and Steph not gonna be there either. So and the world is not getting worse. Braun is not gonna play in the Olympics. No way they're gonna play Olympics if they say Bronny and Bryce could go.
I was about to say Braun gonna play, so Bronny could go.
You gotta get the Olympics
I know we haven't spoke about that and all that other stuff, but Triv, I want to hear your thoughts on what Braun did to Stephen A. Smith.
What you mean? When he checked him on the court?
At halftime of not at halftime, yeah, during the halftime,
yeah,
during the Knicks and when he just signed $100 million contract, and another black man, successful, that day, and then Braun checks him. I want to hear what you guys say, and then I would love to rebuttal.
I'm gonna keep the another black man part of it out of it because I don't think that I don't look at it like that because Stephen A. be coming at guys too, so I'm not gonna use that part of it, right? I mean, could you have done it in a better place? Yes, but at the same time, I do remember hearing Stephen A. say, "I'm at 120 games a year. Come check me," or something along those lines. I do remember him saying that. So, but again, you know what I'm saying? Was it the right time? Probably not. I'm sure you could have did that in a different way. But listen, who am I to tell another grown man how he should respond in that type of situation? If he felt like, yo, you was coming at him, as a father or whatever, and he checked you when he checked you, I can't. Who am I to say, Braun, chill, don't do that? Would I have done that in that way? No. But however he respond, that's how he respond.
Got it. All right, cool. And I probably figured you would say that. And I would say, because I know you're like the biggest LeBron fan ever. So
first of all, Shannon Sharp is the biggest LeBron fan ever. I'm number 2.
Okay. So Skip Bayless has destroyed LeBron throughout his career for every move. He would
Skip Bayless don't be outside though. Skip Bayless don't be outside.
Again, he would never check Skip Bayless. Even if he was outside.
He can't.
Even if
It's not. It ain't even Skip. Go ahead. Let him go. Let Ace go because it ain't just Skip. I'm gonna say something about it too.
Yeah. What I'm saying, he would never do that to Skip Bayless or whatever. He would only, and then on the national TV game, and then he's like, there's a time and place for that. I would say, imagine, LeBron is LeBron, and this is why one of the reasons, again, why he would never be the GOAT, because Michael Jordan wouldn't allow a reporter, Peter Vesey back in the days, used to say the craziest stuff.
Peter Vesey
Michael Jordan wouldn't go crazy at Mike. Mike wouldn't give him the time of day. You know what I'm saying? He just kill the Knicks, keep killing him. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what you do. You let your game speak for yourself. And in this case, let Bronny's game speak for itself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, let your son, and LeBron should be getting trolled for that because it was a trolling move. Bronny did not deserve to be in the NBA. At this point, at this rate, if Bronny came back and went to school and killed UFC, let him win a national championship. Let him go and be playing in the Final Four and all. And then it's undeniable. Now, Bronny's name will and forever be linked to his dad got him in the league. And that's it.
It was a whack move by Braun because, as H highlighted, he wouldn't have done that to Skip Bayless. He wouldn't have done that to Jason Whitlock. He wouldn't have done it to Chris Broussard. There's a bunch of other reporters who have killed Braun for this Bronny move. Stephen A. ain't the only one, but Stephen A. is the most popular one. He's the most notable one. So what did he do? He attacked Stephen A. Smith. I thought it was super whack because at halftime of a game, you thinking about approaching Stephen A. Smith? At halftime of a game, really, Trip?
Of a close game.
Right, of a game. Is one thing if after the game... Hold on, no. It's one thing if after the game, if I see you in the tunnel, we in the locker room, and then we exchange words, that's different because the game is over. Now my focus is on you in this moment. But what Stephen A. said was very, very true. And this became a popularity contest because people wanted to side with Braun because they didn't want to hear what Stephen A. had to say, but it was true. he not only approached Stephen A, but he made sure to approach him on the side of the court where somebody was recording. Realistically, why would
anywhere on the court somebody was going to be recording?
No, but hold on, Trip. If you and I were at the game and we would have saw Stephen A courtside, we would have thought nothing of it because Stephen A's at all the games. If we would have saw him and Bron speaking, we would have thought nothing of it because, again, they probably speak 100 times throughout the year, right? But how strategic was it that somebody just happened to be recording in that moment? In that moment, not after the conversation already happened. Somebody was already recording before Bron walked up.
You think Rich Paul had somebody in the stands waiting?
Absolutely. Because and this, and I'm not saying this to be critical of Bron, but we know Bron is very strategic. There isn't something done without some sort of purpose or motive behind it. So he knew if Stephen hit, all right, cool. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna approach him right on that baseline right there. And when somebody gets the footage, we'll put it out. Nobody will hear the words. Nobody hear what I actually said, but they'll tell by my body language that I'm barking on, that I'm getting at him right now. And that's what he did. Then he got mad at Stephen A for speaking his side of it. But as we talked about right here on Real Fans Real Talk, if you Stephen A, what I'm supposed to do, you literally punked me on the court. So I'm not supposed to tell my side of the story now. I'm not supposed to be able to speak my piece on it.
Look at Trip, man.
And
look at Trip.
Right, but this is what I mean. It turns into a popularity contest because people don't want to hear what Stephen A got to say on it. Whether you like Stephen A or not, cool. I don't like every take he has, but let's call a spade a spade. Bron brought this unnecessary attention on his son. Nobody else did. Before Bron even got drafted, what did they tell people? Oh, he's not signing a two-way deal. You got to give him a fully guaranteed deal. Then they started telling teams, don't draft him. They started telling teams, don't draft him so the Lakers could take him with the 55th pick. Was Bron not the one who put the tweet out there and said Bronny better than half the guys in this league?
He did, and he also did say he ain't signed no two-way contract, and I would have done the same thing.
And what he did, and then he forced the Lakers to sign him, to draft him.
4-year deal, $8 million, but 55th
to draft him,
guaranteed.
He forced them to draft him.
Well, they made their money back.
Hold on, but it ain't about that, Trip. We're not talking the business side of it. We talking what Bron is mad about, and he should be mad at himself. You brought this unnecessary attention on yourself and your son, and now you're mad that people who talk about the game are critical of you. I don't think nothing Stephen A said was disrespectful to Bron. He just said what most of us were already thinking. Why are you putting this unnecessary pressure on your son? You're doing him no favors. When Bron walks away from the game in a year, 2, 3 years, whatever he decides to walk away from the game, you really think anybody's going to have sympathy for Bronny or going to want to work with Bronny? They're not going to want to work with Bronny because Bron has made it so difficult to even work with him that it's now like, yo, you ain't even got the talent to be here. Realistically, I'm putting up with you because of your father. The moment your father's out the picture, I ain't got to deal with you no more. So Bron has put himself and his son in an impossible situation, and Bron is wrong, and Bron need to admit that. Going at Stephen A. Smith to me didn't prove nothing. It just proved what we already thought about you, that you're sensitive and that you feel you hurt anytime somebody goes against you. Anytime somebody doesn't agree with Bron, he feels hurt by that. There's no reason to be hurt by that. The truth sometimes stings. It is what it is. But you brought this unnecessary attention on your son, and now you got to deal with that.
He does have to deal with it. Bron got to step his game up, show him prove. But he did after that whole thing happened. That's when he dropped him 17 on Milwaukee. So
Trip, they was getting blown up by 40 points that night. That's the only reason Bronny played 30 minutes.
Hey, he came, but he put up 17.
It was getting blown up by 40 points, and Bronny played the whole second half.
Too, though. He shook Giannis. He hit him with a little whoop, you know what I'm saying? He did.
Listen, we're gonna ask H about this because you see a lot of retired guys. We heard that they got the Michael Beasley versus Lance Stevenson $100,000 game coming up. Paul Pierce recently came out, said he wanted to challenge some people, 100,000 one-on-one. What they should do is the best game. I'm proposing it right now. So when it happens, remember where you heard it first. The best game is the Nasses versus Bronny for 100,000, and the loser's out the league. The winner gets a spot on the team. That's how you figure that whole situation out. The loser out the league, and then the winner gets to keep their spot.
Well, the Nasses, I think he's out. He's working. He's working with the Bucks and that. He's working in the front office with the Bucks now. Like
the Nasses, always been working. He always been working with the Bucks in some form of fashion.
Word.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Shout out to Will Gordon. See you in the comments, man. What it do, baby?
What's good, Will?
Yeah, man.
All right, let me go to this next NBA question. Hold on, let me see. All right, shout out to Ray. He says, is it time to respect the Rockets' wins over OKC and the Warriors, I would say no. It is not time to respect the Rockets because the Rockets are going to be like those teams that Eric and I talk about all the time. They do their numbers in the regular season, and we don't see them after the second round of the playoffs. That's going to be the fate of the Houston Rockets this year.
I say,
Um,
go ahead,
yeah.
H.
No, I would say the Rockets definitely a surprise team, man. And I think that it has a lot to do with coaching.
Udoka,
Adoba,
Ime
Udoka,
Udoka.
yeah, Udoka. He's a really, really, really good coach, and he would have still been with the Celtics organization if the nonsense ain't happened.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the way he turned around this franchise in just what 2 years is remarkable, and he
Yeah,
should definitely be getting some votes for Coach of the Year. Also, Bickerstaff
The Pistons.
from Detroit, he should be getting he should actually get Coach of the Year. Um,
he
you
deserves it.
know, yeah, he definitely deserved. The Pistons was a doormat team, a doormat franchise with players who people thought was finished, like Tim Hardaway Jr. and players like that as well too. But I think that the Rockets will. I think that the Rockets will surprise a lot of people. I think that they have the grit, they have the tenacity, and they have the the hardworking play that will get them. I think they'll get past the second round. I think they will. I think they'll get
Mm.
past the second round. You know, and I haven't watched them all that much, but at the end of the day, when teams are playing hard, you'll catch some teams who are lacking. The playoffs are a very different story, but I think that the momentum and that playing together, it'd be hard for some of these veteran teams to just turn it on. Um, you know, just because it's playoffs, they may not have that level anymore to just turn it on like they used to, and that does happen where you are just incapable of getting to that next level when you need it, right? A team go down 0-2, it's over. It could be over. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Rockets might surprise some teams and get to at least that second round of the playoffs.
I think we got to respect the season they've had, Trip, because they've surpassed what we expected their win total would be. They're battling right now with some great teams to be the number 2 team in the West, and I do think that they've got enough leadership to be a little better than some of those young teams we talked about before. Because I do agree, we've talked before when Memphis was like the young up and coming team, and they got bumped early in the playoffs because they just didn't know how to win yet. We've seen that plenty of times. But I think this Rockets team could be a little different because not only the coaching, but when you look at the veterans like Fred VanVleet, like Steven Adams on that team, you got enough vets who've been in playoff wars that can help you and keep you focused. And like H said, if they catch the team on the right night, a team maybe looking past and thinking they're young, they're gonna have home court advantage. So Houston gonna be rocking early in the series. If they find a way to win some games early and build their confidence up, they could be a tough team. Now, I don't think they shoot the 3 ball well enough. I think Jalen Green sometimes is hot and cold, and he is their best player. Between him and Şengün, one of those guys is going to have to be consistent throughout the playoffs to really give them a chance to get beyond the first round of the playoffs. But I do think we got to respect what they've done because I think this isn't a fluke at this point. To be this good, this consistent throughout the year, the coaching has been good. They've only got one All-Star on that team, so that speaks to the depth that they have on that team as well. They're a good team, man. And again, the right matchup could go in their favor in the playoffs.
But none of y'all think they're getting out the second round of the playoffs, though.
I think depending on matchup, it's tough to tell right now because by the time we record next week, they could be the 6th seed in the West. That's how tight the West is right now. But if they're holding on to the 2 seed, like realistically, Trip, outside of OKC, maybe the Lakers, Denver's a tough matchup because of Joker. I mean, I think this Houston team could beat Memphis. I think this Houston team is good enough to beat Golden State. So they got some matchups that they can win out west. It's really going to come down to who they got to play in a potential second round matchup.
Well, if they play OKC, Denver, or the Lakers, was probably going to be the teams that's around in the second round.
I think
They're
they can get
going
the
home.
Lakers, man.
But that's what I'm saying. It depends.
You said what? Don't
The
mumble.
Lakers,
Don't say with the chest. Don't say with the chest.
no, I'm saying, the Lakers, they are a lot better, right? And I think JJ Redick has a lot to do with that because I think he gets the most out of his players. because he was a player, right? So he knows what keeps you motivated, keeps you going. He knows what it is when you have a good coach and when you have a coach that people just don't like, right? So I believe he's a hard-nosed player. And then LeBron, again, another move that he made by just getting
His
got his
podcast,
man's
his
his
podcast buddy.
podcast buddy to be the coach. Like, he got his X's and O's guy to be the coach. But and getting that man Darvin Ham fired. But anyway, I think that JJ Redick has a lot to do with the success of the Lakers and getting a lot out of his players. So matter of fact, yeah, I still think they'll beat the Lakers. The Rockets will beat the Lakers. Yeah.
To respond to what you're saying, I'm gonna shout out my uncle Shannon Sharp, Rocket, Socket, Spacely Sprocket, Lakers.
Yo, Shannon Sharp is crazy, bro. That's a crazy man, bro.
Hold on, what? Oh,
Rocket, Sprocket.
Spencer Haywood says Ja Morant is ruining his career. It's crazy. Ja was going to be the face of the NBA a few years ago, almost like he want to be a villain. Now show he hood. Once again, and I said this before, you went to Cranbrook. That's a private school. Ja Morant, set your ass down somewhere. Stop playing before you start losing money and deals.
What he do now? What happened now?
He did in the Warriors game. It's like, bro, that is the last thing that you should be doing.
Not only do it, Adam Silver warned him because they was already on tape doing it once. And Adam Silver warned him, and then he did it again in the Miami game the other day, and now he just got fined, I think, like $75,000.
Yeah, you bugging, bro. You bugging. Like you got to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You the last person that should be doing that, bro.
In the heat of the game, people do but yeah, you can't, right? Three to the dome.
Ja Morant, you gotta know, bro. You cannot do that. Do you know what you were just suspended for being there half a season? Like, what are you doing?
But I remember Reggie Miller used to do the bomb, do the guns, but that was in another era too.
But that was a whole different time.
Not only was it different era, but Reg didn't flash a gun at somebody in public and threaten to kill him. I mean,
and then do it again.
Yeah, and then do it after.
He also didn't beat up a high school kid.
Listen, I said it, Trip. You can go back and find a clip. We talked about it last year. I said Ja Morant will get traded from Memphis. He will not be there much longer. I think them firing Taylor Jenkins was the first sign of that. You normally don't fire your head coach this late into the season, right? It was like 12 games before the playoffs started. So
why did that happen?
The rumors are that they had already kind of undermined him, the franchise, because they brought in a new coaching staff and they were trying to implement a new offense. But the rumors were that it's the lack of leadership in that locker room. It's a level of immaturity in that locker room. They tried to bring in different leaders. After Dylan Brooks left, they tried to bring in Marcus Smart. That didn't really work out. Steven Adams was there for a little bit and he wanted out of there. So what I've heard and what I've read is just the level of immaturity in that locker room.
So why get rid of the coach though?
Because you're not going to get rid of Ja yet. You're going to try to get rid of the coach. You're going to try to see if that changes. You're going to see if maybe leadership can bring something different in. And then if not, I think Ja's next.
No, it's a fact.
I guess, yeah.
All right, Ron Charles, Eric. I don't know if they're your Thunder, Eric.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered by that, because I've been talking very high about the Thunder for 2 seasons now. So I'm flattered that he would associate me with the Thunder.
Have lost 2 games in a row to the Rockets and the Lakers. Concern or just it happens? Are Thunder scared of the Lakers? Think they play again tomorrow? Yes, they do play again Tuesday night. Go ahead, Eric.
I think it's something that just happens. Again, the Western Conference is tough, as we talked about. You look at how good 1 through 6 is out west. You're not going to beat the best teams or the playoff teams all the time. You're going to lose to some playoff teams every now and then. And I think even if they played in the series, they would lose a game or 2 to either one of those teams. Yeah. But I don't think they're worried about the Lakers. They played the Lakers earlier this year and they beat them. And they handled them pretty easily. And in yesterday's game, the one thing that stuck out to me is if the Lakers are going to shoot the ball the way they did yesterday, then yeah, the Lakers might have a chance in that series. Mm-hmm. But through almost 2 quarters yesterday, the Lakers were shooting 60% from 3. They hit 22 3-pointers yesterday. Like they were unconscious from They were unconscious from 3 yesterday. If they're going to play like that every game, then yeah, the Lakers got a shot to beat them. But in most cases, they're going to level out to an equal medium. And I think OKC is a better team, has more depth. The Lakers still haven't figured out what they're going to do at the center position. And so I think OKC isn't scared of either one of those teams. OKC is the best team in the West for a reason.
LeBron?
Again, late in the season, I think people are just, they're not even worried about any, but no one can catch them in the standings. Those guys play well together, man. If you sat and watched the OKC game, like you would be afraid, like yo, if you're rooting against them, right? Because they have fun. You can see even in the post game interviews that they have with the players, they have them with the players, right? So if Shea is the one getting interviewed, he has his whole team there
Mhm.
supporting him. I'm big on stuff like that and seeing that, like, it's chemistry. That really makes the team. If your guys are good together, if you even have a star player who you don't talk to, you don't like, you only show up at game time, that's going to be the dynamic of your team, right? So I think that OKC is a real good team,
Mhm.
not just on paper, not just because they have the best record, but because they actually like each other. And being in OKC, you have nothing to do out there but work out and get better, right? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they're really good, and that's why KD, when he was with OKC and Westbrook, they were super locked in because and super into the community. There's places like that just you're dialed into where you're at. You're not thinking about New York. You're not thinking
Yeah.
about all these other places. You're locked into OKC. You have a curfew. You're going to sleep. You're going to the gym. It's like a real routine, and that's
Mhm.
why some players, if you're really a real professional, you'll love a team like that. So I think that they have real championship goals and real championship aspirations. Not just having the best record, but really like they can really do it. I think they
Yeah.
can really do it.
And I don't like the like. I don't like putting they're scared on any professional
Yeah.
team. I don't know about the they're scared. I don't know about it. I don't subscribe to that. Now concern is something different. I don't think they should be concerned because they're still the best team, by far in the Western Conference. Really, they played like the best team in the league all season. They pretty much have the MVP in Shea. They have a very deep roster. They play defense very well as a
Hmm.
unit. Um, but I don't think they're really concerned about that. I think that's more of a blip in the matrix. But I will say this: I think there will be some level of concern for a young playoff team if the Lakers win tomorrow night. Let's say by at least 15 points. I do believe there will be some level of concern because they're a younger playoff team. And when you add into the fact that Luka was the one that sent them home last year, obviously, I know Dallas is a different team than the Lakers are, but ending off the season, getting blown out the way they did, and then at home, and then to come back on Tuesday night. And if you lose by, like I said, more than 15 points again at home, I think there's going to be a little bit of a level of concern um
Do
going
the
into the
Lakers
playoffs.
have something to play for right now? What are they
The
playing to
Lakers
secure that?
or OKC?
The Lakers, the
Yeah, the
Lakers.
Yeah,
Lakers. Lakers are
they
still playing for
competing because you don't
seeding.
want to run into OKC in the first second round. You want to try to save them for the conference finals.
Okay, so the
Ridiculous.
Lakers might come out. So if OKC will only take this game super serious if they're, at this time they may be trying to play some of their bench, get them
Well,
ready for the
the game they
playoffs.
played this last night, everybody played. It wasn't
They played it.
nobody
Yeah, they played
that
everybody
didn't
yesterday.
play.
I mean, they rested guys once the game got out of hand, but no, they
Yeah,
started with everybody.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I think they if you're OKC,
But
like
yo, it's a difference though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. When you come to this point in the season, if you have a big like you're gonna see this team show up in the playoffs. Like
no,
you come
But Shea has something to play for because he that MVP ain't guaranteed to him right now. He got to
that
finish the
MVP.
season strong.
That's a
So he
fact.
does have
Well,
something to play for.
100%. But his body of work through this far, I can't see somebody losing an MVP from the last 3 or 4 games of the season, right? It doesn't. To me, if I'm
You just
balling,
said earlier that you can see them voting for Jokic again.
No,
Let
no, but he
Jokic
was
put up
yeah,
no, no.
another
But hold
3
on,
games
hold
with
on.
60-40.
When H said that,
Yeah.
though, he said from the standpoint of we all agree Joker's the best player in the league. So when he
100%.
says voting for Joker, he doesn't mean it from the standpoint of like Joker is like Shea has slipped and now hasn't played well enough to be an MVP. It's just the
No, he
standpoint.
still has the
If you
edge.
take Joker, who could argue with voting for Joker? He is the best player. He's been
Again,
the best player in the league for about 4 years now.
yeah, 100%. And you that year that the year didn't it didn't Embiid win it last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago? That was
Mhm.
disgusting, right?
But
So
that's voting.
Jo-
That's what happens, you know.
well, that's what happens when that's what happens when you're tired of the same person
Yeah,
winning.
it
'Cause
happened to
would've been-
Mike. It happened to Mike when Barkley won it that year. It happened to LeBron when Derrick Rose won it that year. You could still be the best player, but the voters sometimes like, all right, we've given you the award too many times at this point.
Yeah, 100%. So I think that no, they're not scared. No, I don't think it's gonna affect them. They're just ready. They're ready for the playoffs, right? They're ready to show people who they really are. And when you got a team who's really playing for positioning, and they can like play, they can be bust to that, like and really like go hard, and
Mhm.
it's a different level when you're not. They really don't have anything to play for right this second. Like you understand what I'm saying? So if
Yeah.
a team is coming and you almost like, damn, they going hard, man. Like you know what I'm saying? They're gonna do it. But my level of, and I'm gonna play in every game, right? I'm gonna play hard every single game. But I can see them just, okay. Like you said, a blowout happened, the team go up. In the second half, if it's a game that you really need, you're gonna give it that extra push. But if you don't really need that game, you're probably gonna rest your players. You're probably gonna be like, whatever, right? We didn't hit 10 threes in the first half.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't really have nothing to play for right now.
I agree, and it's you got to also keep in mind that this is a potential second round matchup. So if you're OKC, right, and let's say the Lakers come on, they start out hot like they did yesterday. Do I really want to show you my whole game plan on how I'm gonna try to take Luke out the game? Like, do I want to show too much of my cards right now, knowing that in 6 weeks I might have to play you again with more on the line? So you got to balance, like H said, you got to balance it from the standpoint of we don't have anything to play for. If we could win the game, great. But if we get out of here and everybody's healthy and it is what it is, we got the number 1 seed. Everybody got to come through OKC. And we're just using these games to formulate what we want to do defensively against Luka. How do we want to guard that pick and roll? How do we want to guard those cutters? What do we want to do there? I don't think OKC is going to show too much, to be honest.
Well,
Do they want to win?
Figured out Luka yet, and
Right.
He been cooking for a while.
Absolutely. But again, am I going to go all out in this game just to prove that I can stop Luka when I'm going to see him in 6 weeks? Those are the games that matter more. You know what I'm saying? For the Lakers,
100%.
there's more on the line. Now, don't get me wrong. If the game is close and competitive, maybe OKC keeps their guys in there. But if the Lakers get up 10, 12 points, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC is like, all right, that's enough, guys. Just, y'all got your cardio.
I don't think it did, but that would be more so in the fourth quarter, though. They ain't going to be up 10 in the second quarter and be like, all right, we're going to rest.
No, not the second quarter, but third quarter, you might see guys play less minutes. You might see, the coaching staff rely on the bench a little bit more. Because, again, you
don't want guys like Chet or Hartenstein getting hurt. So.
Right. That's what I say. What would be worse? OKC loses or OKC Chet gets hurt? Jalen Williams gets hurt.
And they win.
Right. And they win. Because then that was like, was it worth winning?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think tomorrow's game, and this goes for the Lakers too. I don't think just because the Lakers win them all, that means like, oh, they got OKC's number. I don't think that means anything. There's a game that's so late in the season, OKC has nothing to play for. The Lakers are trying to play for positioning. But if the Lakers lose, I'm not going to look at them any differently either. Again, this matchup with them is probably six weeks in the making.
Now, hold on, because I wouldn't say OKC has nothing to play for because they still want home court throughout. So they still do have something to play for.
Who's
Cleveland and OKC? They got the same record, so they 2
games up on Cleveland.
Yeah, so it ain't like
I think they got the tiebreakers on Cleveland. I think they might. I don't know. They split this year. They split, so it's gonna probably go to conference record.
So they still do have something.
And I think a team like OKC would like to have the best overall record in the league, like something under their belt. I'm sure you get something for that as well too. They don't have any rings or anything like that.
I mean, let's play a game that I love to play. We look at the schedule. You could tell right now who they're gonna be. I look at the schedule already. Even if they lose to the Lakers, let me know how many of these games you think the Thunder gonna win. They got the Lakers tomorrow. All right. After that, they got the mighty Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, the Phoenix. Yo,
you can might as well check that.
KD
After that, they go to Utah to play the Jazz.
That's two.
Doormat.
They end the season in New Orleans against the Pelicans. No Zion,
Do-
no CJ McCollum.
Yeah, so they'll go
So
3 and
even if
1.
they lose the Lakers, this possibility they still win 2 of those last 3 games and get the number 1 seed. Like, what are we talking
That's a
about?
fact. Well,
Yeah.
now who knows? Because now they might rest the players on them that last game, so now maybe
Listen,
might go to.
listen.
Nah, if they had to win.
They could put the 3 of us out there, H run point. I'm standing in the corner, and we could beat the Pelicans or the Jazz. I'm in the corner.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't think OKC is that concerned with the last 3 opponents. Phoenix is
no, not at all. Not
Phoenix.
at all.
Damn near they done. They already know.
If KD wasn't hurt, then maybe that would be a little concern. But no, other than no. It ain't happening. Let me go to Pool. We're gonna get to the other comment towards the end, but because I know you like to be in the messy section. But let me put this comment up in now while we're talking about this. How does Kobe Bryant only have 1 regular season MVP? Well, everybody kind of thinks he should have at least 2, but
because of the charge.
You said it because of the charge.
When he had the did y'all watch that Kobe?
I did.
The Kobe?
The Making of a Legend. Yeah.
So it was I love the fact that they showed a lot more of his him being in Italy, growing up there as a child, because there was some things that he really lived there for like 4 years, man. Like, and they had, he had friends and family there. Kobe was really like a one of one, man. He was a very different person, bro. So like he's the player that became Kobe Bryant. Right? He became that person. Like, he had to work really hard to be the best at what he was doing. And he didn't shortcut anything, right? So I think Kobe should really get more love as well too. But I don't the only reason why that happened, that kind of watching that documentary kind of put more, as a child, I was younger when that happened, so you don't really kind of understand it. But when you see it back when you're a full blown adult, you're like, yeah, man, and Kobe, he was the face of the league. I remember one thing when Allen Iverson was like, you never know, you can't put nothing past anybody. He said that after that Kobe thing, and that was like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? It's really, you can't. But yeah, it happened. Like anything else, and the NBA has to pivot and kind of figure out who they want as and they can't, even if Kobe had to go berserko to get back in the good graces. I mean, he was getting booed by people, and
you have to be flawless after something
81 points is what got
you
him.
have to be flawless.
Got him back into even
the
conversation.
If you get your name involved in something like that, you have to be absolutely flawless to get back.
And you're Mr. McDonald's. He's the McDonald's guy.
Yes.
He's the this. He's the fake. Kobe Bryant was the cookie cutter, perfect basketball player. He's the guy. He could speak different languages.
Really it wasn't what it was.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like that situation.
It wasn't that, but it happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? It happened.
Yeah, but if it's not a sexual assault, if it's just
wasn't
him,
that?
Huh?
But he's a black man in Colorado.
No, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. So if it's actually not that, but he still has to face the punishments like it is that. That's the part that sucks.
So that's like even with an allegation, something that wasn't true, right? It's just you.
Now he did hook up with that woman, but it wasn't a situation where he took anything from her. But he still has to deal with the consequences of that because of the ordeal and how everything played out. He still had to deal with that and face those same consequences as if he had actually done that. That's the part that sucks.
Yeah,
he had to be flawless to get back to who he was and to be in everybody's good graces.
I agree with H. So I watched it, and there were some things obviously that I didn't know, and there were some things obviously you don't remember at that time because the way the news was covered was completely different now. Now we see whole transcripts on social media. We can hear the whole court case, right from my phone. Whereas back then you were only hearing bits and pieces of it. Kobe made mistakes. I'll say that. I'm not saying he was guilty. His first mistake was he lied about any encounter with this woman. That was his first mistake.
Yes.
And the district attorney said that. When Kobe admitted, that me and her had, a sexual encounter, he said, I lied about it because I didn't want my wife to find out about it. But in that moment, you can't lie to the police about something like that when a woman is accusing you of something. You gotta say, that's, this what happened. It was consensual, but this what happened. Yeah. But when you start off by lying, people already start looking at it like, all right, so then what else are you lying about then?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he put himself in a very tough situation. But as I've said many times before, in terms of this particular question, MVP, the MVP is a year-to-year award that's built around narrative, right? What is the best NBA narrative? Is it a team? Is it a player? Is it a redemption story? Is it all those things? For years, Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league. Nobody could dispute that. But the narrative around him was very negative. So people didn't want to give him his credit. As H mentioned, it took the 81-point performance for people to start to embrace him again. It took those moments where he was taking bad Laker teams into the playoffs and going toe-to-toe with Phoenix and some other good teams, where people started saying, all right, this is the Kobe that we've all known and loved. And so
they wasn't talking. It had to be his play on the game, on the court.
Right, yeah.
He had those 60-point games. Remember, he had 60, 63, 69 on the third quarter. And he had to do it with basketball.
He had to go crazy on the court. And so I think that because all these things are narrative based, because these things are rooted in who the media wants to promote a certain way, he had a negative stereotype around him because of what took place. Yeah. So the media wasn't going to give him his just due yet. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to acknowledge that he was the best player in the game. They didn't want to give him that validation that, hey, this is the face of the league. So him winning the one MVP, and I saw Will mention where Will said Steve Nash stole one from Kobe. Steve Nash ain't stealing from Kobe. The media stole it from Kobe because Steve Nash in Phoenix was the better narrative. Vote, so he can't. Right, but Steve Nash was the better narrative. Right, he goes to Phoenix. He turns that team around. They become the fun running gun Suns. 7 seconds or less with Mike D'Antoni and Amari Stoudemire is becoming a star now. And so Steve Nash was the fun guy to give the award to. Steve Nash never been a day in his life that he was a better basketball player than Kobe Bryant. But in terms of narrative, it was the better fit. The undersized point guard who was elevating the Phoenix Suns and making them a powerhouse in the league. Whereas Kobe, he dropping 60, he dropping 81. But the Lakers, a lot of those years, if you look before Pau Gasol, they was the 6th, 7th, or 8th seed. They weren't playing, they weren't playing, they weren't in title contention, they weren't a number 1 seed, and they was still the dark cloud over Kobe Bryant because of what took place in Colorado. So I think that's why we know Kobe deserved more than one. But it's a narrative-based award, and those other things kind of held back his greatness during that time. And people got to remember, too, we praise Kobe and we talk about him the way we do now. But if you go back and look at some of the way the sports shows talked about him in 2010, 2011, they wasn't talking about him like this.
It was ugly.
Right. They were the gloves was off with the way they talked about Kobe Bryant then. There was people that criticized when he wanted out of LA. They didn't, to them, it was like, oh, he's just a pouty superstar. He wants his way out. People assumed that he forced Shaq out of LA. You know what I'm saying? So everybody it was no love fest for Kobe Bryant in 2010, 2011.
Not at all. That's why he had to be flawless to get back. Let me go to Ron Charles. He says, are the Nuggets struggles overshadowing Jokic's brilliance? Numbers are unreal, but losing. And that's also part of the reason why I think that Shea has the MVP locked in, because even with the gaudy numbers that Jokic has been putting up over the last couple of weeks, especially with the 60-point triple-double, they've been losing. They lost 4 straight now. And that hurts your chances for getting MVP, especially coming towards the end of the season. And then on top of that, now Jamal Murray is out, so they're probably going to struggle a little bit more. Supposedly he's going to be back for the playoffs. But what's you guys take?
I'll let you go first.
I watched the game last night. I was one of the rare times that I watched my league pass that I pay for every year. Like I don't know what it is. You
gotta buy 2K, Haron. Just get the $100 or the $150 version of 2K, and then get your league pass for free.
I don't play video games. League pass is $100 for me for the year. Anyway, One of the rare times that I was watching the game, and they should have won that game last night against Indiana. Um, Jokic made like a bonehead play. Like at the end of the game, he's trying to do a dribble handle. They're down two. You have the ball, and the way he plays sometimes is just like it's that European style. So it's that like the flailing and so he making it's a pass that he could have just made like a real regular chest pass. He goes to do a dribble handoff, he gets stuck and he's holding the ball like this, and he could have just made a regular chest pass. I think it was Westbrook. He
Mhm.
goes and does this and like
Mhm.
now he throws it in the backcourt, and then it's like, yo, bro. So those plays, they didn't. He wasn't playing. He was sitting out for a few games as well too. So nothing that's happening right now. Again, nothing that's happening right now with the Nuggets. Um, I think they're like a playoff team as well too. You kind of just see them in the playoffs, right?
Yes.
They're a very good team.
They do have
Aaron
to be
Gordon's
healthy
a
though.
really
They're
good
gonna need
player.
Jamal
Yeah,
Murray.
100%. Jamal Murray, he's the last couple years. The year that they won the chip, I didn't think that, he coming off an ACL injury, I didn't think
He
that he
balled out
would
that year. He
he
balled
definitely
out.
balled out. I didn't think that he would, right?
No.
But 2 years removed from that, I don't see that player. I don't see Jamal Murray
Yeah.
as that guy that he needs to
He's
be. But
because he
and
keeps
that's
getting hurt.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why people overlook
Mm-hmm.
the Denver Nuggets still because Jamal Murray's game, not Jokic.
And he
Jokic,
didn't do nothing in the Olympics. Like he was like a non-factor for
for Canada,
for
right?
Canada in the Olympics. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
surprised at that one.
yeah. But so yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think the losing again. We're so and come to we're the season's over. The NBA season is
Yeah.
pretty much a wrap. Just seeding and everything right now. The teams who need to be eliminated, there's nobody really fighting to get in that play-in. Maybe like in the West, Sacramento. Hopefully that they keep that spot. Because I'm went to school in Sacramento, and shout out to Mike Bibby. He's coaching my school. What I'm saying, shout out to Team
What's up?
Dom, coach, new head coach at Sacramento State. Shout out to Bibby. We definitely hung out a lot in those Sacramento days because it was Sacramento Kings and Sacramento State. That was the only thing that was going on in Sacramento. Um, and I hope the Kings get into the playoffs this year. But yeah, so I don't think that has anything to do with Joker's brilliance.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is overshadowing his brilliance. I mean, when it's all said and done, the Nuggets are probably going to be the fourth seed. They got a chance to get to the third seed, so it's still a very good season.
He's still the best player in basketball too.
Still
So
the best playing basketball. He's still going to be first team All
Can
NBA.
y'all believe that he's like the best player in basketball? Like, it's weird to say that. Like for me, it's like, yo, you can't stop this guy. Like literally, like, and he goes crazy on people, and he
I
doesn't even
think.
look like he wants to play basketball. It's like,
I think. Yeah. I think. It's funny you say that too because before COVID, there was one time. I remember the three of us were in a deli. We were talking about like who we thought was going to be the next face of the league. Uh,
yeah, I remember that.
and obviously Joker wasn't a guy we mentioned.
not at all.
But now looking
I
at the
think we
way
mentioned Giannis too. I
we
think it
talked
was
about Giannis, yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
Giannis, we talked about Embiid. To me, I'm not too shocked because I've said several times I think the AAU and the development of young American players has kind of ruined the game. Because a lot of young guys, and age was different coming up. When you play for your school, when you practice and you develop as a player, now these kids aren't learning the fundamentals. They're just, if you're good, you're athletic, you're talented, you're going to play on 3 or 4 different AAU travel teams, and that's where you're going to get your games and your reps in. You're not learning the fundamentals. You look at Joker, you look at Luka, these guys aren't super athletic. They're just fundamentally sound. And their IQ for the game is on a different level, and that's what makes them great. So I'm not too surprised based just on those things that why Joker is the best guy in the league. But in terms of this question, I mean, if the Nuggets win their last 3 games, they get the 50 wins. I think that's still a very good season by NBA terms. You get the 50 wins. I don't think it's overshadowing his brilliance because he is going to be a first team All NBA guy. And he's probably going to be number 2 in MVP voting. So when you say Ron, shout out to Ron, when you say overshadowing, are you meaning like from him winning the MVP? Because I mean, how many more MVPs can he win? He's already a 4-time winner of the award. At some point, the voters are going to go with somebody else as well. Like, they're not just going to keep giving it to him just because he's the best player in the league. So I don't think nothing's overshadowing his brilliance. We still talk about Joker every week. We see the highlights. Like you mentioned, the 40-20-20 game, all those things. We know how great he is. So I don't think anybody's discounting, how great he is.
No, that's a fact. Tyson, I got you. I'm trying my best to get through all these questions. I promise you, I'm trying my best here. All right, we're gonna start running through because y'all know how we get when you start getting into overtime. So
We're about to be in double overtime.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through all of these questions for y'all. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the top because there was some college basketball questions. We're just gonna start running through all of the questions one by one. All right, let me go with where we at first. Okay. I hate to take it here, but Duke lost to Houston, but did Duke choke or did Houston take it? I think Duke choked. Pause. But I think they lost that game. They gave it up. They had it. I dozed off thinking, all right, we good. I'm about to talk my smack in the morning. You know what I'm saying? We back to the national championship game. We up by 10 right now. I woke up pissed off. Boy, I couldn't even believe it. I went back, seeing what the heck went down, and I could not believe it. Embarrassing. Like Coach K would never let something like that go down. 3 minutes left in the game. I got a 10-point lead. I don't even know what to say, man. It hurt me, man. It hurt me. That's it, man. That's all I can say. It hurt.
It's a choke. Pause. I mean, Houston went on a 15-3 run over the last 3 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
There was a 10-minute stretch in the second half of that game where Duke didn't score a field goal. Mm-hmm. Now, there's no excuse for a team that got the number one player in the country in Cooper Flagg going 10 minutes without being able to get a field goal. They got 3 guys on that team that's probably going to go in the first round of this year's draft.
Yeah.
You got to just execute better. And then the final sequence of that game, you're up 6. You allow Houston to hit a 3. You let them steal the inbound. They miss the 3, get the offensive rebound, get a layup. And then when you go down and get fouled, you miss the free throw. Like that last 30 seconds of that game that creates the 9-0 run for Houston to win the game. That in itself, you know what I'm saying? That in itself is disgusting. To allow a 9-0 run in the last 30 seconds of the game in itself. But like I said, the whole last 3-minute sequence is terrible. 15-3 run there, 10 minutes without a field goal. It's a choke. And shout out to Houston for continuing to fight. Shout out to Houston to continue to play. Yeah, they played through the game as your coach to do. And kudos to them for being tough enough to win that game. Duke mentally wasn't tough enough to win that game, but it's a choke.
Yep. Yeah, like you guys said it, there's nothing more for me to say. I was watching that game, one of the rare games that I watched this college season and even in the NCAA tournament. But I watched it and I'm like, yeah, this game is a wrap. But then in my head, I'm like, what if Houston comes back and win? Like, kind of like, you know what I mean? Thinking about that. And then I'm watching the game. It was a really shocking moment because, it's both ways. I didn't have a horse in the race. I didn't care who won either way. But having Duke in the national championship game would have been fire too. Like to have, Duke there and actually winning, and it's Duke, and it's like nostalgic and stuff like that. But
in their first one without Coach K.
Yeah, and facts. So like, but them getting to that point and then having Houston, they missed the free throws. Houston getting the offensive rebounds, and this, like, it was a lot. Even just throw the ball inbound, get the ball inbound, hold the ball, get fouled, knock down your free throws. Mm-hmm. That's a part of.
Gotta finish your breakfast.
Yeah, you gotta finish your breakfast. So I would say, yeah, that was Houston. I'm sorry, Duke choking. Pause.
Shout out to Brandon Chambers. He says, congrats to Cooper Flagg and winning the AP Player of the Year. Wooded and Naismith Player of the Year. He did live up to the hype. Was his freshman year better than Zion's? I mean, Zion missed the rest of the season once he got injured. So I don't even think you can really compare their freshman years because of that. And they didn't even make it to the Final Four that year.
Yeah, they didn't make it to the Final Four. I think, no disrespect to Zion, but Zion was more hype than substance that year. Because when you look back at that recruiting class, RJ Barrett was the best player coming out of high school. RJ Barrett probably was the best player on that Duke team that year. In terms of consistency and numbers, RJ Barrett I thought was better than Zion. Zion was just a hype because of the dunks and the power that he played with. So in terms of, if you want to compare Cooper Flagg's freshman year, I think it was better than Zion's.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, it's not even comparison. Zion completely hype driven, and still to this day he's just hype. He still can't get it right. Hopefully he does. But Cooper Flag definitely did his thing as a true freshman, right? Which is going away in this game where was it Alabama or Alabama's team averaged about 26 years of age. I believe, which is older than OKC's team, which their average is 24 and a half. So college basketball, and again, in itself, the purity of it is a lot different. So to have a true freshman win that award and like lead his team to that far, I kind of wanted him to win it all, like Carmelo Anthony type situation. But as a true freshman, that means a lot. My thing is, do you think he's gonna go to the NBA, or what? Should he stay another year in college?
No, he got ain't no staying.
What's the rush though? Again, like now, when you can make that money in college, what's the rush to go to the league?
Well, he's a top player, so he's gonna be making more once he makes that leap. I think maybe for like the third or fourth man on the squad who's getting their money in from college and whatnot. Yeah, but if you're gonna
would never leave.
Top 3 pick in the NBA, your contract is gonna be crazy anyway.
You telling me if you were projected to be number 1 pick, you wouldn't leave?
Oh, no, I would be out if I'm number 1 pick. Yeah, but I'm saying like, and the way college is set up now, I would play out all of my years, right?
Why?
But he ain't going as the number 1 pick. He's not going to make more.
No, but I want to even with NIL money. Why?
I'm talking about me. If I'm doing well, I would play all my years. Like, I'm not Cooper Flag. I'm not.
No, but I'm saying even you, right? If you're, I'm assuming growing up playing ball, going to college, your dream is to make the league.
Yeah, that was the dream. Didn't happen, but I'm talking about.
No, I know, but I'm saying if the path was there, even if you weren't projected to be number 1 pick, let's say the path was there where they came to you and said, H, we're looking at the board, we're projecting you to go middle of the first round, late lottery, middle of the first round.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I would go.
That's what I'm saying. I think one, because he's the overall number 1 prospect, he gotta go. You're never gonna be better than number 1. You're never going to be better than number 1. You come back next year, anything can happen. Now you're not the number 1 pick. That's one.
Right.
2, when you look at the business side of it, you go into the draft now, he's 18 years old. I know everybody's going to talk about the NIL money. You go back to Duke, you're going to make a lot of money. Yes, you're going to make a lot of money as a rookie in the NBA as well. But the most important reason you go now is because 4 years from now, when you're 22 years old, you're going to be eligible for your max contract. And when you get
say, I don't think he wants to go to Utah. I wouldn't. If Utah, they're projected to get the number 1 pick, I would.
I think he's from Maine, though. I don't think he's from like a big city.
Yeah, he's from Maine.
Yeah. So
he's from Vermont or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't, I just think from the business standpoint of it, you look at it and say, look, you go in, you're going to get your max deal in 4 years. So even if you don't like Utah, even if you don't like, let's say DC, right? You're going to have the marketing capability to build a brand.
I would hate to see him. I would hate to see him in DC. DC doesn't deserve.
Don't let my man Will Gordon hear that. Will Gordon, he'll be highly upset.
It's the fans in DC. It's like they're like the New Jersey Nets fans, right? They're like the New Jersey Nets fan. Like,
hey, you know better than us. You know better than us, right? Watching Cooper Flag, I feel like he's a talented guy, but I feel like he'll be best suited to be partnered up with like a really good
100%. Yeah, like a Shea. If he was in OKC.
Well, come on.
I'm gonna give another scenario because there's a young
with
guard.
The Knicks too, man.
Listen, with the Knicks it's different, but they don't want to hear that.
He probably wouldn't even. I don't know if Tom Thibodeau let him play. Then
Tibbs will play. Tibbs will play him 40 minutes a night. Tibbs will like just stay out there. Those young legs right there. Those young legs don't need no break. You don't need no break, those young legs. But I honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Cooper Flag and Charlotte with LaMelo, with a
Oh,
dynamic guard like that.
that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
You know what I'm saying? Because LaMelo could get his own shot off. LaMelo could create for him.
Mhm.
And then, like, a little bit of the pressure's off. Because if he goes to DC or even Utah, they're going to treat him like just give him the ball, let him go to work. And I don't think
Let him
that's
do
his
whatever he
And he's
game.
wants.
not that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not
I don't
his
think that's his
game.
game.
Yeah. Like he remind me of like a Gordon Hayward, which is Gordon Hayward's really good too, but he's better, right? He's more explosive, and I think he has more leadership qualities than Gordon Hayward and more confidence as well too. When you've been
I think Gordon
playing
Hayward's
and
probably
you
just a better shooter, but other than that,
yeah.
I think Cooper Flag got
Yeah,
it.
but when you've been playing and you've been the man for a long time, that means a lot too.
Mhm.
So on these different levels of playing, and you understand your assignment everywhere you go. So I think going to college is very, very big for him. I just want the best for him. I hope he goes to a really good situation where he can flourish and doesn't get forgotten about. Because a lot of who was the number one pick this year? Soares or Sar? Like
Nah,
there
Well,
was
this whole
something.
draft class
Shea.
was
Risha
This
weak.
is
Shea from Atlanta.
who
Risha Shea.
Risha it's like
Yeah.
it's we
He
don't we
barely
talk more
Nobody
about
cares about
Bronny,
anybody from this last draft class
yeah,
except
at
for Bronny.
all except for Bronny, and that's the
Except for
55th
Bronny,
pick.
that's it. The rest
It
of them
was
cats
it was horrible.
nobody cares about. I have not heard not one media outlet talking about any other rookie except for Bronny James. That's never happened before.
Bronny's gotten the most coverage. I wouldn't say they haven't spoke about anybody because
Who?
Who they speak about?
well, when Jared McCain was playing before he got hurt with Philly, Jared McCain was probably having the best rookie
Oh,
season.
McCain. Yeah, he was
he's
wilding.
playing well, but I'm saying the
But they're not
media
talking about
is
him.
not
That's
talking
Well,
about
because
the
he's been
rookie
injured
in
now for a
Philly.
few months. But I'm saying he's been injured for a few months now. But when he was playing, the media was giving him his
Right.
respect. They were talking about him as the best rookie in this class. But he's been injured since like January. So obviously you out of sight, out of mind. Nobody's talking about you. Nobody's thinking about you.
Yeah.
Bronny, they talk more about Bronny from a gossip perspective.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
I have not heard nobody talk
about.
about. They don't talk about Bronny from a developmental perspective or like, hey, it's always from a gossip perspective with Bronny.
But yeah, but
When was the
that's I
last?
think
When
that's
was the
what
last draft
Trip was
class we
saying
had
too.
where they did
You don't
not
talk
speak
about that.
about the number one overall draft pick?
It happens. I mean, when Anthony Bennett was the number one pick, people wasn't talking about Anthony Bennett.
He was ass though. It's not like he
But that's Tripp's point though. Tripp's point is when it's a bad number one pick,
They don't.
right. They don't talk about you. So the
Yeah.
same thing with these guys now. With Risha
But
Shea
is the
and with
number
Alex
one? Is he playing?
He is
Not
playing.
really.
It's just
Not
nothing to
not
write
really
home
playing
about.
because Atlanta's trying to make the playoffs. They got more of a veteran team. He
Yeah.
played the other day. He played well the other day. I think he had like a 27-point game recently. He plays here and there. Does he get
He's
consistent
not, but
minutes?
he's not doing enough to where it's something to speak about.
No, but
Hey,
when you
Risha
say
Shea
when you
and
say
Aaron
when's the
Sutton.
last time, it happens pretty often. When a number one pick is a bust, we ain't talking about that number one pick for that's it. After that season, it's like this.
But
Is
that,
he
how
a
long ago was
bust, though?
Anthony Bennett? That was over 10 years
Over a
ago.
decade, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
How about do we get number one picks that are normally bust? No, it's few and far between. Number one picks aren't always bust. They normally contributors right away.
Yeah, then that's why I said this draft class.
Right. So this was the one in every 6 to 8 years that is like, all right, it's a bad draft. But we knew that.
How did the Hawks get the number one pick?
But they were bad last year.
Yeah.
And they jumped up in the lottery. They wasn't expected to have the number one pick. They jumped up in the lottery.
Yeah, so that happens too when your team is a pretty decent team.
Yeah.
And you get the number one pick, you don't have the need you're just picking a player because everyone says he's the number one pick.
Right. You're just picking based off of like projected talent as opposed to because realistically, what's the guy? Man. The guard that I said San Antonio should have kept Trip, that he ended up going to Memphis from Kentucky.
That went this year?
Yeah. The slim point guard that plays with Memphis, but San Antonio originally drafted him and then they traded him away. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But he was the cat that I liked the most in the draft. But again, Atlanta don't need that. Atlanta said, yo, we'll take the 6'11", you know, perimeter guy who could do all these different things, and we hope that he turns into something.
Yeah. All right, well, shout out to UConn, national champions. Big shout out to Paige, someone that we've been speaking about. I mean, really, for like this last year, I feel like we've been speaking highly of her. and what she's accomplished. What does this title mean for Paige Bucker's UConn legacy? Can she sit at the table with Diana, Maya, Brianna, Sue, and Tina Charles? Well, Brianna, but didn't she get like four of them? I
Yeah,
Yeah,
think
Brianna won every year there.
every year. So
Brianna's
we
at
gonna
a table
exclude
by
her.
herself. She's at a table by herself.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we exclude
Oh,
Brianna out that
I
equation.
think the only people that can say that is like her and Kareem that can say, "Yeah, I won every year in
Yeah.
college." I think they're the only two people.
So no,
man.
yeah,
Maya
so she's
Maya
out.
Moore, oh man, I can't
I
believe
mean,
she did that
listen,
with her
respect because
career, bro.
all every woman that was that Brandon named are, you know what I'm saying, out of this world talent level, and also transition and did numbers in the WNBA as well. So these are all time greats. Um, and again, Paige's legacy is her legacy. We know she dealt with the injury earlier on, in the collegiate career, but you know what? She sure enough finished strong as you could possibly finish, winning a national championship game. Now whether or not that's different, and we're gonna talk about this in another question or two from now. If Juju doesn't tear her ACL, who knows how this thing goes? But you got to give her nothing but respect because she is one of the best. And I'm not even saying it's a woman. She's one of the best basketball players that we've seen. She did an incredible job. That whole UConn basketball team did an incredible job this year. And hey, listen, she got the job done. And people that's gonna start doing the little rivalries between her and Caitlin Clark, they're gonna say, hey, well, listen, she got one up right now because she got that championship.
You got that ring. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
Paige did a thing. I think coming back, like you said, from could have been like a career-ending injury, and
Mm-hmm.
being resilient and being consistent and coming back and prevailing and getting a
Got knocked the
national
hustle.
championship against everyone thinks that Don Staley's group is always going to win. So they did it and they smacked them too. So
Yeah.
that's yeah, it was a beating. It wasn't just a regular win too. So shout out
Mhm.
to her.
Yeah, I mean, first off, she absolutely deserves to sit at any table with other champions. She's a champion. And she's going to go down as one of the greatest UConn players of all time. How they want to rank her, that's on them. But during her career, aside from coming back from the injury, she played in 3 Final Fours,
Mhm.
obviously getting a ring now. So it solidifies a great career for her in overcoming the adversity early on. People forget, I believe ESPN posted it. When she was coming out of high school, she was the number one player, rated above
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, rated
Mhm.
above Angel Reese, rated above Cardosa. So and Cameron Brink, all first round picks in last year's draft. Paige was rated above them back in 2020 coming out of high school.
Mhm.
So Paige has been the truth. The injuries
But
just slowed her down.
she was like that. She was
She
really
was
Yeah.
well, she
like
was
that.
she was the female athlete of the year coming out. The crazy part is her and Jalen Suggs went to the same high school, and they were both the male and female athlete of the year, high school athlete of the year, coming out of the same
Mm.
school.
Mhm.
So she's been like that since 2020. The injuries just slowed down the inevitable. She was going to be a great player regardless. The injuries just slowed it down. If not, she probably would have been in that draft class last year with them girls. So Paige, like I said, is deserving to sit at any table with champions. And I think it was a great finale for her to come back, not only from the injuries, but remember last year they lose in the semifinal game in a controversial game against Iowa. And then to come back this year, redeem themselves, and then beat South Carolina, who beat her in her other Final Four appearance. So it's kind of like she exercised the demons on both fronts. We're gonna get to the championship game, and then we're gonna beat the team that beat me the first time I ever got to the Final Four. So shout out to
Mhm.
Paige.
And
Uh,
sometimes that one can make you like a superstar,
Right.
like just sometimes you getting that one that was really tough and it shows the perseverance other than someone just winning every year because they have the best team, right?
mhm.
I think that, and then I don't think, they were a top seed, but I think they were number two in the tournament rankings. They had a two seed, but at the end of the day, I think beating teams that people maybe not think that you're expected to win in against
Mhm.
also holds weight. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
South Carolina team is tough. Shout out to Coach Staley. Tyson says, question, is Paige in the top 10 female college players ever now? I don't think she is. Cheryl Miller, Diana, Maya Moore, Candace Parker, Brianna, Shamika Holslaw, Caitlin Clark, Swoops, and Woodard.
Why do we do this, man?
Yeah, like it's too early
Why do
for
we do
that,
this,
man.
bro?
Like,
Why
yeah,
why
that's
is why the moment somebody accomplishes anything, we automatically want to have a
yeah,
best
top
ever
10.
conversation? Yeah, like
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah,
Like
I don't. Yeah, this doesn't need to be answered right
yeah,
now.
like
This is
I just
yeah.
I don't know why we keep doing this, bro. And shout
She's
out
a
to
national
Tyson.
champion. That's what we're gonna leave it
No,
for
I
now.
get that. I shout out to Tyson, but come on, bro. Like she still got sweat on her uniform from yesterday, bro. And we already, she a top 10 college. Come on, man.
Facts.
Let's not
Yeah.
do that, bro.
Well,
It's
you
shout
know,
out
I
to all
guess
the
I'm
women.
assuming he asked the question because she won the national championship. Well, they won
Okay,
the
but
national championship. If she doesn't
you
even
know,
win, we don't even have this. I get he doesn't even ask this question. So,
but hold on, we had the same conversation last year because everybody was like, oh, if Caitlin Clark does
yeah,
win
the
the
call,
championship,
yep.
where does she land all the time? It's like
Mhm.
that's not even a fair conversation to have. There's a lot of great players that never won a championship.
It's
Just
tough.
because it's tough to win. Like for as great as Paige is, she got one. For as great as Juju is, Juju hasn't been to a national championship yet. Like that's how tough it is to get there and win it. And to have this kind of conversation is unfair to the ladies. You haven't, like he mentioned, shout out to all these women right here that he mentioned. Sue Bird not there. Is Sue Bird not an all-time great?
Yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah, Sue Bird was
I mean,
insane.
You see what I'm
so
saying?
many,
Like, come on, bro. We can't do that, bro. Let's just enjoy the moment.
Yeah,
Shout
enjoy
out
the
to
moment.
Paige
Yeah.
and shout
Yeah,
out to
just
all these great women.
congratulations, Paige and
Man.
UConn. All right, Pooh,
Come
what
on,
up,
man.
Pooh? You all didn't have a show last week, but when Juju Watkins got hurt and tore her ACL, what was y'all thoughts at that time? I was sick. I was sick because one, I mean, I love Juju. I think she is going to be the future, and I still believe that for her when she's able to come back. But from a competitive standpoint, I wanted to see that matchup with UConn, and it was
Yeah.
we were right there. We were right there, ready to get that, and then boom, and it was just like, oh my goodness, man! I just wish her a speedy recovery. That's all.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why you don't come back to college too, right?
See, there
Maybe you
you
can
go.
get injured. So my thoughts was that I'm like, damn, man, like that's crazy. Like, she's been doing her thing and killing it. And
Hmm.
potentially would have been the number one pick in the WNBA draft. But yeah, it was kind of unbelievable. It was like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, speedy recovery. Hopefully she gets back fully recovered and not have any thoughts in her mind because injury could play a trick on you. You know what I mean? Something awful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ask her. Yeah, ask
Yeah.
Markel Folks about that.
Yeah. Unfortunate. I remember I work early morning, so I wasn't able to stay up and watch that game. But when I checked the score and I saw the news, I tried to text Trip at like 3 a.m. Like, yo, Juju got hurt. Like when I heard, sort of the alert.
Mhm.
So very unfortunate because she was having a great season and we were headed towards an epic showdown with them in UConn. They played earlier this season and they had a great matchup in the regular season. So you expected it to be a classic. And you also knew that the winner of that was going to have a legitimate shot against South Carolina to win it all because that was really the three best teams this year. But it was also unfortunate because it happened so late in the season that it's going to affect next season for her now. Next season
Person
potentially.
are huge Juju supporters.
Yeah. Next season might be a redshirt year for her, depending on how much time they expect her to miss. She might just be better off redshirt and just focus up on the following year. But it's unfortunate, and you just not only pray for a speedy recovery, but you pray that mentally she's not affected by this because you don't want her to become hesitant anytime she goes to the lane now. You don't want her to be hesitant anytime there's contact around a basket now because dealing with this type of injury.
Luckily, we're so advanced in technology right now. We see these injuries and we see people come back and
Oh, for
thrive after
sure.
them. So I'm hoping that's the case for Juju. And I definitely agree with you, Poole. Congrats to Juju on winning the Naismith, the Wooden, and the AP Player of the Year award. Well deserved. She said we may not see her in college again, may miss next year, and then she'll be WNBA age to declare. And then that's all she wrote for that. Let me go to this next one. Walter Clayton Jr.'s game is so cold. I wonder will it transfer to the NBA though? I mean, that's a tough question because it's not guaranteed that anybody's game is gonna, you know what I'm saying, transfer over to the NBA. So, you know what I'm saying, like, I mean, I hope so because I want guys to do well. So, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, like, but you can't really tell until they get there.
The NBA is tough, man. The NBA is really, really tough. It's all about getting in the right situation, getting in the right space, and really just honing in and locking in with your team. If the team really needs you and really
Mhm.
wants you, that and it allows you to play the game that you really want to play, then the sky's the limit. But if you don't have that opportunity, like if you don't have that need, like we just was talking about number one picks and all that, who they're just not getting the opportunity or the chances to be who they are. So
Yeah,
I don't think it's about your skill level or what you can do, is what you're needed for.
yeah, exactly. All right, let me go to my main man, Scoop Hoop. What up? Scoop Hoop be checking in too, making sure we on point. We doing the shows like we supposed to be doing the shows. So shout out to Scoop Hoop. He says, Trip, what was your thoughts on that Warriors Lakers game, and would the Warriors be a tough first round matchup? I think that outside of OKC, the Warriors are the team that would give LA the most problems. And I think because they are a very seasoned veteran team with a lot of playoff experience, and they also have the greatest shooter that God ever created, and a young man by the name of Wardell Stephen Curry. So yeah, I think it would be a tough first round matchup. I do think the Lakers win, but I think it would be a hell of a first round matchup if that happens. And right now, Lakers are third, and Golden State is in six, so they would play each other in the first round if the
Mhm.
playoffs started today.
I don't think the Lakers want that issue.
Listen, okay,
I
I'm gonna
don't
tell
think
you
they want
again.
that. I don't think the
I'm gonna
Lakers
tell you
want that
again.
problem.
Shout out to Unc. Okay,
So and I think
Curry,
they got a little more
McFlurry,
tougher with with
Shaduri, Lakers in five.
Yeah, I don't think the Lake on a serious note, right? I don't think the Lakers would want to play the Golden State Warriors round
I don't
one
either.
of
I
the
think that would
Western
be a very
Conference
tough
play.
matchup.
Yeah.
I think those are the two teams that the Lakers would not want to see in the first round. OKC
They
and
would want
Golden
to see,
State.
like, come go see a Memphis or something like
Yeah, any one of
that.
those
They're
guys, we good.
cool.
Yeah,
So
Golden State's tough for them, but I mean, stylistically, it makes sense. Neither one has a traditional big, so both teams get
Yeah.
to play. The lineups they like the most. They don't have to force any playing time on anybody. But
mhm.
yeah, in terms of just the matchup itself, it's tough. That's a veteran laden Golden State team that's been through the wars. You got Steph, obviously Draymond, Jimmy Butler now.
Mhm.
Um, that Warrior team probably a little deeper in terms of talent than the Lakers. And then you got the coaching advantage on the Warrior side as well. So that's a tough matchup for the Lakers in the first round.
Yeah, agreed. Brandon Chambers, potential Durant trade destination include T Wolves, Heat, Knicks, Spurs, and Rockets. Would y'all want him in New York?
Hell
Eric,
no.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say to
Hell
this,
no.
but I don't know what to say. Because first of all, what you're gonna have to give up to get Kevin Durant in New York, like you're basically gonna gut that whole team
Nah, we not who got in the team for him?
to get
You're gonna
Kevin
you're gonna have to
Durant.
give up.
What
You're gonna have to give up two quality pieces.
we not giving up OG.
You
We
have
not
to though, because
You don't have no
the
choice. You
salary,
want
the
Kevin Durant.
salary. You got to make the
so
salary
who
match. You
so
got to make the salary match.
You'll be lucky because you'll
who
get
did
to keep
Brooklyn
Jalen
get?
Brunson and Towns, right? But you're gonna have to give up OG, Bridges, Hart.
Nah, you're not giving
What?
up that
No,
much.
what
You're
are you
not giving
talking
up that
about, bro?
much. You're not
We
giving
don't
up that
need
much.
that.
But you're
Listen.
definitely you. First of all, you got to make the salary match because the Knicks are over the cap. We're within the first threshold, and so is Phoenix. So the only way we can make the trade, and Phoenix in general with any team, but I'm just using the Knicks as an example.
Yo, why do we want Durant again?
I don't want
Nobody
Durant.
does. I don't know. That's why I said I already knew Eric was going to say. I know he doesn't want Durant.
Yeah, like no.
I'm be honest. I've been critical of Durant since he was in Brooklyn. I didn't want him then. And Trip knows I got plenty of footage out there saying what I said. Kevin Durant is an organizational destroyer. You look at everywhere he's been since Golden State, he destroys the franchise. I want no parts of Kevin Durant. But in terms of just this conversation for a trade, because of the salary, it would have to be probably OG and Mitchell Robinson for Kevin Durant to make the salaries work.
I love OG too much, right? He may not be the prolific scorer that KD is, and KD can go get you a bucket, but I again, he has Devin Booker himself and Bradley. But I don't know what got into
But
Bradley
there's
Beal,
no
but
defense
yeah,
though. And if you trade OG, that's your best
yeah, that's
defensive player. So then it's just
yeah.
going to be the same thing like it was in Phoenix. A bunch of guys that are really good offensively, but nobody plays no defense. And in the playoffs, you're going to have to lock down and play defense.
I don't
That's
want.
one of the yeah.
I don't want a 34-year-old Kevin Durant.
And on top of that,
I don't.
Injury prone at 34 years
You
old.
telling me there's a dude who damn near quits on every team he's been on. He quits on them when he don't want to be there no more. He quits. He's quitting on Phoenix right now, as we speak. The fact that the news broke 3 weeks ago that they were exploring a trade for him this offseason when they're trying to just get into the playing game, that speaks to him already saying, I'm out of here. Y'all can do what y'all want. Yesterday was a must-win game for them against the Knicks. He's been out. He's not going to play. They basically got to win out to make just a playing game, which is disgusting to even think about. When you look at Sacramento, who's tanking. When you look at Dallas, who's been hurt for most of the second half of the year, and Phoenix can't even catch those teams.
Sacramento just gave up their best player at the trade deadline, and they still in the play-in tournament, and y'all not.
And Kevin Durant, again, is an organizational killer. I want no parts of Kevin Durant.
So, all right. So, out of these other teams, where do you think Kevin Durant fits best?
I think he would go. The Spurs would be a nice fit for him. Him and look, hear me out. I think him and Wemby, that would be something, right? De'Aaron Fox. Whoo, that's a.
Well,
that's
I mean, you do have the defense already there.
On paper, it sounds great.
The Rockets.
But do you want that with the young core?
I don't know if he's. If he has a bad attitude or anything like that. I just think that I've never heard of anything like that. I've heard he's a sensitive person or this, that, and the third. But as far as just playing basketball, the Suns. People forget the Suns were a top team before he got hurt.
They were in the finals 2 years before he got there.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about this season. They were doing very well in the beginning of the year as well too. Then he got hurt. So I thought the Suns were this was the year that they kind of turned the new leaf and kind of got right. But
this ain't it.
And then they had Tyus, they had the point guard, they got
Tyus Jones over there.
Tyus Jones, and I thought that's all that they were missing. But you need guidance, man. I think a veteran point guard like Chris Paul could have got them, right as well too. People, you discount Chris Paul, but Chris Paul, he's somebody you need a leader. Kevin Durant only works well when he has a leader.
But
he just hoops. He's not a leader, though. I would never think that he's a leader.
But he wants to hoop and be in control. If you look at since his time in Brooklyn, he got 2 head coaches fired in Brooklyn. He was only there 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. What's the dude? He's at
Kenny Atkinson
now. No way should they have fired him.
Right.
No
way. But if you look back, the reason they fired Kenny Atkinson is because KD didn't like his workout plan. He didn't like the fact that Kenny Atkinson was making him report to the facility 3 times a week. KD was like, I do it on my own time. Kenny Atkinson said, this is the way we do it here. Because remember, the year before, Kenny Atkinson led that young Brooklyn team to the playoffs.
100%.
Kenny Atkinson, he had a structure in place. This is how we do it here. KD said, "No, I want to do it my way." Okay, so
he's a good dude too. Kenny Atkinson's a real.
He gets Kenny Atkinson's out. He gets Kenny out of there because he wanted Steve Nash. We knew Steve Nash should be a head coach.
Do whatever he wanted to do.
Right. They bring in Steve Nash. They bring in Jacques Vaughn. The moment Jacques Vaughn tries to create structure, I don't want to be here no more. Then he goes to Phoenix. He gets Frank Vogel fired. Frank Vogel's a winning coach who has a ring with the Lakers. Got him fired. They bring in Coach Bud now, another coach who has a ring. You can't make the play-in game? Come on, bro.
You got to do better. All right, School Poop says, watching South Carolina this year, They to me lack consistent outside shooting, and they seem to go through long scoring droughts. They favor going into next year, but Don got to add a few more pieces to me. I mean, listen, you ain't gonna run the table every year, and as players get drafted and go into the league, you're gonna have to fill those holes, and you have to give them time to grow and to learn. So yeah, she ain't gonna run the table and go undefeated every year. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, to still make it right back to the national championship game, they ain't missing much. So
Yeah, I think NIL has changed the college landscape for the worse. There's no real consistency. There's no, people can go in the portal at any time. So I think even some of the better teams and top teams are going to struggle year to year. You got to really, I think, and I know this is kind of going off track, but I think the NCAA should implement a rule that you low key has to sign a contract. Like if you're gonna play at this school, it's a
mhm,
2-year deal, 3-year deal. We got to get into that 4-year, full 4-year term, something like that, and have because the portal straight. You shouldn't just be able to just jump in the portal
yeah,
just to jump in, you had a great season or you got to stay there, or a team has to pay you to get that player,
yeah,
or an equal switch off or something like that. Something has to happen. You can't just be losing your best player for literally nothing. And like even a mid major going to a mid, like, yeah, something has to happen there. So I think, but yeah, you're gonna have your ups and downs. You're gonna have seasons where you're the best and seasons where, you're fighting to be in the finals.
yeah. And listen, we just said Stewie's is the only one to win four during the
Yeah.
career. So you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be expecting. She just won last year, and then she's back in the national championship game. So you know what I mean? Like
That's fire. That's
yeah,
dope. When is a guarantee, you have to win every year situation be a bad thing. She was in a national championship game this year, like so not much you
basically.
can say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that shout out to Paige. Yeah, Paige is gonna be amazing at the next level. But in terms of South Carolina, they just look tired at the end. You saw Dawn looked a little tired. It's tough to go back and win it again. They'll be all right though.
Mhm.
Yep.
Eric, take this one. What will Paige bring to the WNBA?
Good playmaker, good defender. I think she'll be an impact player right away. I don't think she'll be a high level scorer. So if you're expecting her to go in and have a bunch of like 30-point nights, I don't think she's gonna be that type of player right away. But I think her defense, she's a long guard. Her defense, her playmaking, I think, going to translate very well to the next level.
Mm.
I'm gonna add in ticket sales
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just about to say that.
because you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying. And no disrespect to to last year's first round draft pick, but Paige got the look, and that helps. You know what I'm saying, especially for in the WNBA, it definitely
I
helps.
think
So
yeah,
what do you mean?
I
What do you
think
mean
that
she has the look?
like she's pretty. She's girl next
she's
door.
he's saying she's better. She's
Oh,
better on the eyes than Caitlin.
She's easy on the eyes.
uh,
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
no
Caitlin's
disrespect to
a
Caitlin, but
hooper.
it
yeah,
is what it
A
is.
Caitlin.
hoop.
Yeah,
You know.
Caitlin walk around in Nike slides all day. She's not. She's
Yeah.
not worried about what Trip think about her look.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I think yeah.
Imani says, I've been watching all the sports shows today, and it's amazing that most picking the Lakers over Thunder. Are they going overboard about that loss to the Lakers? Well, I don't know. I mean, only Shannon Sharp, but we know he gonna say the Lakers. I don't know if everybody just jumped on the bandwagon and said the Lakers is gonna beat OKC in the series. I'm not even on the bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't jumping out all the way out the window. Like they are the favorites for a reason. But like, we can't get. I mean, hell of a game. Shout out to the Lakers, but it's one game. We can't just. All right, now it's clear. It's over with, and it's a wrap. We going straight to the finals. That's not how that works. So nah, this is one game. We got a lot more work to do.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, H. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like you just mentioned, like I really feel like a lot of people go overboard and they treat it's game to game with these
Prisoners in
people.
the
You know what I
moment.
mean? This is game to game, bro. It can't be that. A lot of these people don't watch these teams, right? A lot of these commentators don't watch basketball. right? They just watch highlights and they don't watch and watch the game. And that's where if you're a commentator or you're somebody, a reporter, you should be able to watch these games, man. Seeing players' body language. That's going not just kind of jumping off topic, but this is why one of the reasons why I said Julius Randle had to go, right? I didn't want him here in New York because of I hate it. If you watch a Julius Randle game with the Knicks, it was awful. Like I hated it. Like I
Yeah.
literally hated it. His body language stunk. It was horrible. He couldn't pass out the double. And people was when he's gone now, people, oh man, I don't know about this trade. Bruh, are you dumb? Like, but that's from people not watching basketball or not really focusing in, and they just, okay, we should have ran it back. Sentimental stuff. No, we shouldn't have ran it
You
back.
know how
I
many
think that was the
people
best thing.
told me that Julius Randle and Cat were equals?
They're idiots. They don't watch basketball, right? So again, I've been on podcasts, and again, I have clips where I'm saying this was the best when the Knicks were 5-5. I'm like, I love the trade. I love it. And Cat can play a little bit more harder and stuff like that. He's a little sissy, a little bit. Like he kind of, he gotta like get more physical and things like that. But at
He
the
just
end
got
of
to
the
hang out
day,
with Dykeman a little bit. He be all right.
yeah, he got PJ Tucker will get him right. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what I would say about this is that people they just kind of they're in the moment too much. They're not really watching and things like that. But yeah, then they are going overboard about that, and they actually need to watch
Listen,
basketball
last
and
week the
get it.
Lakers wasn't gonna make it out the first round after they lost to
100%.
Chicago. Now they're gonna get to the fight. Like, stop being prisoners in the moment. That's the
Hmm.
bottom.
Well, but it's also the shock value of it, right? The Lakers that gets your attention, right? If
Mhm.
somebody's talking about the Lakers, if somebody's talking about the Cowboys, if somebody's
The
talking about
same thing.
The Yankees,
Mhm.
they grab your attention, and so it leads to these things. And H is so right. Most of these guys don't watch the game.
They don't.
Most of these guys who are on these talking head shows, they got a crew of writers who just write up the stats, write up the talking points, and say, "Hey, say
Mhm.
this at this moment." And they didn't watch the game. They might have watched a little bit of the highlights, but if you ask them to really break down detailed moments of the game, they can't tell you because they didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all about, the Lakers won. It's a good headline. Let's talk about it. Hey, are the Lakers a threat out west? Could they come out of the west? Could they, right? Because if you're a talking head show like ESPN or Fox, what's the sexier headline? OKC in the NBA Finals or the Lakers in the NBA Finals?
You're
You're gonna
right.
get more. You're gonna get more views if people are talking about the Lakers advancing and playing for a championship than you would at OKC. But we know at the end of the day, this is complete, overboard, hot take by these shows to get you to tune in. OKC, as Tripp said earlier, OKC ain't scared to play nobody. No player in the league is scared to play anybody in the league. It is what it is. They'll play whoever lines up against them. And the talking head shows know there's a reason why OKC's got the best record out west. The Lakers are
Yeah.
a good team, but there are levels to it right now. They face off in the playoffs, maybe it's a different conversation, but right now it's completely overblown.
Yeah.
All right. School Poop says, should Boston be favored to win the title going into the playoffs? Can the Knicks do some damage in the playoffs with Brunson back and should be in shape by the playoffs? Damn, I don't know about I mean, they're the champs, so I'm gonna put respect on their name. But I don't even know. I don't even know if they should be the favorites, like to win the finals. Like, I feel like we got to give OKC a lot more respect. But as far as the Knicks go, I think the Knicks can actually. I think the Knicks are actually going to surprise people, in the playoffs this year.
E.
Boston should be favored. They've been the most consistent team in basketball probably over the last several years, not just winning the NBA Finals. Obviously, they've been to 2 NBA Finals in the last 4 years, but they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think, about 6 times since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been there. So in terms of consistency, there's no team that has played that deep into the playoffs that much over the last few years. So they deserve that to be favored as the champ and because of how consistent they've been. Knicks could do some damage. I like how aggressive OG has been over the last 2 weeks. And if he keeps that up with Jalen Brunson and Cat, then I think now you have something. Because that's what the Knicks have been missing. They've been missing that third guy that could take over in spurts. So if OG is going to be this aggressive, then I like it and I give him a chance. I expect the Knicks to come out of the first round, whether they play Milwaukee or Detroit. The second round is where it gets tricky because they haven't shown that they can hang with Boston. And that right now would be your second round matchup. So If Boston isn't healthy, if Porzingis isn't right, then it maybe changes the series. But if Boston's healthy, I expect Boston to beat the Knicks. Knicks are probably a second round team right
Um, I I'm gonna say this from a real standpoint. Favorites, I guess, because you're the champion and you gotta, you're the champ until you're beaten, right? So
Yeah.
I would say that, and they have played very well this year, man. They're very well coached, man. Boston they're a really good team, man. They're a modern team. Shoots the threes, play defense, and again, they look like they like one another on the court, right? They play the game together, and they have a real good core. Like, how like we talking with the Knicks, this player needs to play defense. That their bench play needs to, Boston has all of that together, right? It's not so the starters aren't playing a million minutes, right? You got some bench players and the Knicks are very well capable of that, and that's why Mikal Bridges brought that up. Talk about, yeah, we got players who can play. Shaman's playing a lot more, and that's all within confidence, and it's just their style of play. The coach, pours in energy into them, and I think the Boston Celtics will be the favorite going in, but I think OKC has to show and prove. And then as far as the Knicks, I think we will do damage, and I would love to see the Celtics with us being super healthy. You know what I'm saying? And
They need
I
to
really,
keep Porzingis healthy though.
yeah, for
He's
sure.
gonna,
I
he's gonna
think
be
that
a difference maker,
now.
and
yeah,
I
whether or
agree.
not they win back to back, they have
a
to
lot,
keep
a
Porzingis.
lot. A lot of games that we lost, as the Knicks, we didn't have our full team, and people are bashing us as if we had our full lineup
Right.
the entire time, the entire year. We would even a
Mm-hmm.
Deuce being out, Deuce McBride is out. They'll undermine stuff like that. But Brunson being out, bro, they'll undermine things like that. Like, yo, bro, we lost and we didn't have OG, we didn't have Mikal, we didn't. Well, we have Mikal. He plays every game, but you know what I'm saying, and
No, I get.
but yeah.
No, I agree. And that's the one thing about the Knicks right now. Like looking at the lineup they touted out yesterday, and then being able to go to the bench and be like, all right, we got Mitch, we got Precious, we got Deuce. Now we got guys that we can rely on in a series. I think that changes it a little bit.
Yeah. Ron. So we're gonna make this one a quick one because we kind of spoke about
Yeah.
We in
with
true
another player
overtime now.
earlier.
Yeah. We got
Forward
it.
boom
We
from
we've been
Auburn.
going so long that the national championship game started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. We got to get
So,
here.
all right, sorry, Ron. But yeah, we
Sorry,
got to
Ron.
close develop. All right. Congrats to Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, 2008 Redeem Team. Dwight getting his love of late, well deserved. Yes, now
Yeah.
that we do need to talk about. Big shout out to Carmelo Anthony and to Dwight Howard on making it to the Hall of Fame. And both of those guys actually will go in twice this year because they were both members of the Redeem Team. So that is, big thanks for them. Shout out to Braun and Wade as well for on that Redeem Team going into the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
this year. So that's now Dwayne Wade will be up in there twice as well too. But
They put the team in there. They put the
Yeah,
Redeem
the
team
same way they
in.
did the Dream Team all got inducted together, and now the Redeem Team's gonna get all inducted. And so that
wow.
means Braun will be in 3 times because Braun will go in for himself, for the Redeem Team, and for Bronny.
Oh, you're right. Damn.
So Braun will go in 3 times.
He definitely go after that. He's
Yeah.
definitely gonna
Mike never did that. Mike never did that.
Oh man.
Shout out to the ladies. The ladies just got named for the Naismith Hall of Fame. Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowl, Sue Bird. I mean,
Shout out to them.
again, we just spoke about a couple of them earlier in the show. These are the best of the best of the best.
Those are
Nothing
the
but love and
pillars.
respect for those ladies. Congratulations. All right, let me see here. Oh, School Poop says Kawhi and the Clippers balling. They will be a tough out. I believe so as well. I mean, if Kawhi's playing come playoff time, but if other than that,
James Harden too, man. James Harden got to show up, man.
James Harden
he do
developed
all
that new little. You see that little floater he does? It's like he don't even jump off the ground, but he got like a little floater he does that.
Yeah. I love the way. I love James Harden, man. Like,
how far do the Clippers go? Second round?
They could be a first round exit.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah, it's gonna be
West.
tough,
That West is crazy.
Yeah, that West is tough. It depends on who they get in the first round. But Ty Lue's a great coach.
Mhm.
And if
Also,
Kawhi is healthy,
I feel like they got better by losing Paul George. Paul George is a joke.
Well, they're playing better
podcast
right
P.
now.
Podcast P, man, he doing, you
Podcast
know,
P.
y'all do.
Put some respect on Podcast P name.
Yeah, yeah, let's take it. We should take
All right.
it.
Detroit Pistons, let's give them love for turning the program around. They're fun to watch and they're not scared of no one. That's what we're saying. Ain't nobody, we don't think nobody not scared. Once you get to that level, ain't no scared. And see, now we might lose. It might be like a guarantee we're gonna lose, but scared, I don't like throwing the scared word around
Man,
when we talking about professionals playing the game that they done spent their lives playing.
you're a
But shout out
competitor.
to the
You ain't
Detroit
never scared,
Pistons.
man.
Yeah,
When you're a
shout out to the
competitor, you're
Pistons.
not
They
scared.
doing their thing. Let me see. Do we have anything else? Oh, hold on. Do you all believe that Braun didn't know about the AD trade? I do actually think he ain't know until after it happened. I'm sorry. I believe so.
And that's
Um,
LeBron's boy being LeBron's boy. Man, you will never, bro. That dude knew. You know what I'm saying? He probably was the cheerleader for it as well too,
First
because
of
he
all,
started. What?
how did
You're
LeBron
not
know this
gonna
was
not.
like
You listen. The Los Angeles Lakers have LeBron James' son on the team, right? The Los Angeles, let me, the Los Angeles Lakers picked LeBron James' son on the team. You think they didn't tell him about a Anthony Davis trade for
Yeah,
Luca?
I
You got
do.
to talk to the face. He's the face of the league. You have to talk to the face of the league and tell the face of your franchise and not only the league
They're
that you're
taking away
about
his
to
powers in
trade.
LA.
You know, all right. So my answer is hell yeah, he knew. And he
Look,
capped like everything else he caps about.
I'm
LeCap
gonna go
is
to
his
the
name.
Will's comment right
No,
here because he
hold on,
got a
hold on.
positive comment.
Yeah, LeCap. Yes,
He
he
said it's the
knew.
first time in LeBron's career that he actually backed his coach instead of undermining him and trying to get him fired. Golf claps.
I'm gonna say that. Well, you didn't put up the other comment Will put up there because Will said if you believe that Braun didn't know about the trade, then you also think the Earth is flat.
We gotta get through
But
all these comments, Eric.
yeah,
Okay?
look at you, man.
But right, you
Yeah,
see how Trip pick and choose which
Trump
comment
is.
he gonna go up there. That's gonna support the narrative. This what we talking about, people. The narrative right here.
Yeah, this is
Um,
crazy, man.
I don't think it's ironic though that they trade AD and then like 2 days later, that's when Braun come out. Yeah, I don't want to get traded nowhere. I want to stay here. I want to ride it out. Of course, you want to stay in LA because you got Luca now, and yeah, you
You
know the
gotta.
Lakers are going to try to build around Luca this season and next season. So of course you don't want to be traded now. Come on, man.
Hey, listen, it is
I,
what
I
Yo,
want
it
to know
Trip.
is.
Yo,
next
Trip.
time
You're a
somebody,
trip.
for real. Next time somebody speak to AD, I want somebody to ask him straight up, yo, since you've been traded, how many times Braun text you? Because that'll tell it all right there. If he be like, I ain't spoke to Braun in months. Yeah, the Braun traded your ass right up out of there. He got you up out of there, deleted your number. He don't even talk to you no more.
It said, "Oops, I did it
That's his
again." There
Right,
go
personal business,
Bron.
man.
Oops, I did
right.
it
All
again.
right,
Yep.
we're gonna take this last one from Pool because for the shout out to Pool, then the
It's the messy hour.
section. Fellas, talk about this Anthony Edwards paying the child support up front and
That's
don't want to be
fire.
in the child's life. People killing her, but didn't he shoot the club up? He got two other babies too, right? Listen,
So can I take that real quick?
go
I
ahead.
think that then he paid her not to have the baby. Then he give her a
Yeah,
hundred
and
and
then she still
fifty,
had the baby.
and then she still had the baby.
Yeah.
So um me having my first child, right? I have a baby
And
boy now. He's
congratulations,
four
by the way.
months. Thank you. I
Salute.
appreciate that. Me having my baby boy now, I can't fathom having a child with a woman I don't know, right? Like not knowing the person as well. You do these things and okay, morally what's right and what's wrong. But if somebody says that, okay, hey, I'm gonna pay you to go, do what you do, um, and then you have the child anyway, and then he still gives you, okay, the settlement for the child support and he gave you the money, I think that's on you. And not to be harsh, right? And he's gonna have a relationship with the child. I know that for sure. But at his age now, he's a very young man. What is he, 22, 23 years old? He probably can't think with that maturity level that he needs to have right now. But what he did do was financially set that child up to be successful in a space that, you know, with somebody throwing some news on him um, about having a child that he thought that wasn't going to be a child, right? So
Yeah.
this
That was
yeah.
a tough one, but don't the advice that I'm gonna give to Anthony Edwards: use a condom.
100%, bro. You can't be
Hey, the
wilding in the
bottom line,
gym.
bro. That's how you avoid all of this stupidness. Use a condom. I get it. Everyone likes it without them. I understand, but brother, you are going to be paying a lot of checks out if you continue at this rate because you're very young in your career. You got a long way to go. There's going to be a lot of groupies
He
that's
might
going to
catch
be
up to
knocking
Nick
at your
Cannon,
hotel
man.
doors in every city you go to. Use a condom, brother. Plus, protect yourself at all times. You don't want to catch nothing that you can't get rid of.
Mm,
I'm gonna
that part.
say I agree with everything both you guys said. Since we keeping it messy, I'm gonna say this in terms of like strategic business move. This was very smart of him. And
100% here.
yeah, all up front. It equates out to like I think $1.8 million total,
Yep.
which is a drop in the bucket when you consider Anthony Edwards this upcoming summer is going to get a $200 million contract.
Yep.
So for the
He
people
took
that
care of it
are
before the contract came.
right, for the people that are advising Anthony Edwards, I'm sure they told him, hey, look, that child support going to look a lot different when that contract extension comes in. So let's take care of this now. And it was very silly of her to take the bait on that because she should have got better legal advice and said, no, why would we agree to that now? A
Yeah,
million
we got
dollars is not going to be the same thing 5 years from now. So why are you taking that now?
well, you got the 200 million about to come in.
Not only that, when
I
the
believe it was
baby is,
Isaiah Thomas said the Brinks truck was
yeah, I
coming.
mean, the, the baby ain't even been immunized yet. That baby fresh. Like you gotta wait. You're supposed to wait and play this out and play the long game and see what happens from it. And
But you knew what she was playing though. She was playing the game and
she was
trying
playing
to
a
play
yeah,
him.
she was playing a quick bag
Eh,
and she wasn't thinking, like, hey,
Long
how can this
term.
be beneficial long term as opposed, yeah, you got the mill, but like I said, 5 years from now, $1 million ain't gonna have the same value.
Nope.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna run through that money
And
fairly
you're gonna
quickly.
run through that money. Like
Yeah, you're
let's
gonna run
be
through
real.
that. You're gonna and Ant knows that, and that's why Ant is doing it this way. You want that's what you want. Here you go. You take that now. Leave me alone. And when you see the news blotter come across Anthony Edwards 6 year $240 million contract, don't circle back. It's done now.
Exactly. You can't spend the block.
And correct
So,
me if I'm wrong, Trip, because I know he did get a couple women pregnant
mhm.
during this off season. But there was rumors that this is the young lady that had been grooming him since he was like 16, 17 years old. Because this
That
is the woman that's older than there's one of the baby mothers is like 5 or 6 years older than him,
yeah.
and she knew him when he was still in high school in Atlanta, and she was a stripper. So the report started coming out because pictures started resurfacing. She used to show up to his high school games. So people were saying that she had been grooming him because not only was he a top level basketball player, he was a top level football recruit as well. So there was already talks within Atlanta that he was on his way to the next level. And he ended up going to Georgia for the 1 year. Yeah, people knew what his future was going to look like because he ended up going to Georgia for the 1 year. So she definitely played it the short game, and she got her little bag out of it. And if you Ant-Man, you walk away, and that's it.
Hope it was worth it. Listen, Haron, we're gonna get up out of here, but
Yes, sir.
Ball for Peace, give us the details, please.
Baller for Peace, ninth annual, you know what I'm saying, celebrity charity basketball game goes down. John Jay College. We're back at John Jay this year. June 14th, Father's Day weekend. We have our high school all-star game starting at 2 o'clock, three-point shootout at 3:30. 4:30, we have the slam dunk contest, powered by Real Fans, Real Talk. And then we have the anticipated celebrity game slash influencer game that's going down. We put out early bird tickets. We sold those out as well. So hey, it's looking really, really good for us this year. And again, like I said, to continue energy and pushing and being on here, I'm gonna be on my Little Wayne stuff. I'm gonna do 77 interviews this year when he was doing those features and he was on everything. I'm about to go crazy. So you're just gonna see me everywhere. And I'm gonna be returning here as well too. Real
That's
Fans, Real
that.
Talk, as you guys have been for all these years, the official media outlet for Baller for Peace. I appreciate you guys. We're back year 9, actually year 10, but year 9 as far as the games because of COVID. But
Yeah,
we're here, and yeah, appreciate you.
you already. Eric, final thought.
You already know, June 14th, make sure you guys in the building. If you are supporters of Real Fans, Real Talk, make sure you show up and support Balling for Peace that day. Get your tickets, pop out, have a great time with us, meet us in person, man. And Haron, we looking forward to not only having you back on the show, but some other things we're going to work, for Balling for Peace and other things we got going on this summer, man.
Man, it's always dope to have other minds working on the mission. And you guys are a part of my family. I know I'm a part of yours. And this is ours, right? This is ours, man. So like it's not just me, it's we. And I can't wait for us to show everybody what Ballin' for Peace 9 looks like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna just say 2 things really quick. Gotta show some love. I told you at the beginning of the program we was gonna talk hockey for the first time in like 10 years. But we gotta shout out Alex Ovechkin. Yesterday scored his 895th goal of his career, passing the great one Wayne Gretzky. He is now the all-time goals leader in the NHL. So big shout out to Alex Ovechkin. And June 14th, man. Balling for Peace. We are back. Meet us there. It is going down. Haron don't have no choice but to come back. He's gonna be back a couple of times leading up into Balling for Peace. He don't get to say so no more. He's gonna be back. So y'all be on the lookout for that. And he's probably gonna bring some of his friends with him when he comes back.
Sure. We definitely gonna have the Dunkers in here and bring them up and do the interviews and talk some stuff
for you guys.
Yeah, yes, sir.
June 14th. Get those tickets. Make sure y'all following at Balling for Peace, at H2O5, and of course at Real Fan Talk. Because we're gonna keep y'all in the know, give y'all the news. Once Haron start dropping the list of the players, you know y'all gonna want to know who's gonna be out there on the court hooping.
Yes, sir.
So make sure y'all stay locked in so we can get that information to y'all ASAP. With that being said, make sure you guys are following us on all of our social media, Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. And of course, subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/For the Fans Productions. And if you're not in New York City on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m., you can't watch us on Verizon 43. Don't worry. Go to the website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage, and you can watch us from anywhere in the world. And make sure y'all subscribe to the 2 best podcasts moving too. That's the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast, man. We got a lot of things coming. It's gonna be a hot summer. Just letting y'all know it's gonna be a real hot summer. All right. Yeah. So with that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my brother Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in 2 Games, and Mr. Balling for Peace himself, Haron H2O Hargrave. We up out of here. Peace.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the can.
This is Real Fans Real Talk. Real Fans Real Talk. We as real as you thought. Real